Spectrum or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brent Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home in Florida. Now, while on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brent's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. Brent became a T4 paraplegic. Tunnel to Towers built him a specially adapted smart home that allows severely injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. We hope you'll donate $11 a month so this great work can continue. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Tug, Rhino, and Front Office Los on the Morning Extra. Coming back fresh off of Thanksgiving. Everybody's got their belly full. Everybody has now got their sights set on Christmas time and gifts. And Joe Biden starts the day with a big gift. His gift to his son, blanket immunity for every crime he's ever committed in his life. And if y'all recall, wasn't that what his lawyers and the defense, or the prosecution rather, tried to work out? And then the judge was like, hang on a minute. Y'all going to pardon him for everything? You're going to say, nope, he's going to plead guilty here for this small thing, but he can't be prosecuted for anything else in the history of the world. I believe that's what that was.
If I remember correctly, it was because they were also doing anything that had to do with taxes moving forward, that it was pretty much blanket carte blanche from this date moving forward. Anything he does, he would have immunity. I don't believe they went back to January 1 of 2014 and said, you get all that too, Rhino.
Boy, did they. You know what they did? They hid everything about Ukraine. That was the easiest thing they could do. And after promise of, I will never pardon my son, I wouldn't do it. Well, guess what? All of a sudden, he feels like, oh, wow, this justice system was weaponized against me. Well, it was your own people who did this. But they're trying to hide everything that had to do with Burisma and Ukraine at the same time, boys.
And you should be happy about this. This is outstanding. Last night, I was smiling ear to ear. Now, I didn't tell my wife because I was going to let her find out naturally. She'll find out some point today. I wasn't going to make a big thing last night and be like, hey, did you understand that the Democrat Party died last night? The era of Barack Obama from 2008 to 2024 officially died last night. And whatever comes from it, we'll see what comes from it. It's going to be up to guys like Joe and the rest of them to figure out what the direction of the party is going to be. But whatever it's been since 2008 to 2024 died last night a wonderful death.
And you're seeing that across, just across the board when it comes to Democrats, and you see them saying, our party is listless. Our party has no direction. Our party has no message. Our party has no cohesion. There is nothing about the Democrat Party that is functioning right now. Thank you, Donald Trump. He's the one that and pretty much caused them to do this to themselves. That's the thing, is that it wasn't that Donald Trump could have done this with his own abilities. It was him being in their way, and they hated him so much that they committed party suicide. That's the thing I think you got to reflect on too, right? It was Donald Trump, yes, but it wasn't anything he did. It was just him being present.
Well, I'll say this about Donald Trump and this administration, and we have now seen how this is coming together. When we tell Democrats, you don't have a home there anymore, come on over into my side of the pond. All right, that's what Donald Trump did with Democrat luminaries, and they joined up with him and said,
legacy names, yeah.
Let's take what is going on within our party, largely of it being unlawful and attacking free speech, these pillars of our society, and recognize that the Democrat Party, by which you were part of during the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, doesn't exist anymore. And so come on in. That hatred of him did create that suicidal moment where, what are they going to become now? I don't know. Are they going more authoritarian?
I would have to think. I would have to think, Rhino, that the answer has to be yes. They have to trend more towards socialism, communism, because if otherwise, if they go back to, hey, we want to focus on workers, we want to focus on the working class,
the Bill of Rights,
all the things. If you do that, you're a Republican.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it's turned into being, is that all of a sudden now the moderate Democrats are Republicans, and that's who they want to be because they saw this entire party go so far to the left, towards towards socialism, to communism. I mean, even the things they were saying while running for office were all about communism. So this is something that I think a lot of Democrats need to look back at and say, hey, how do we get out of this trap? Because they've been trapped by that tyrannical minority, the loud progressives that continue to yell and scream about what needs to be done. But I think most moderate Democrats are like, hold on, that's way too far. We need to be able to work on bills that work for everybody. But at the same time, there's some social issues we need to get through. They can't get them through. And that's the biggest problem for the Democrats right now, is because nobody wants to work with them because they're over the top and authoritarian.
There's two issues here. Well, the first one, and it's by far the most important one, when I have told my Democrat friends and when I have told our Democrat listeners, our liberal listeners, it's not you versus me. It really is us versus them. You got a pretty good whiff of that last night when you saw that the president decided, I'm going to pardon carte blanche my son for a decades period of which I benefited more than likely. That is what we've had. Yeah. Now, I also bring into account, they're so caught up in this. I had this one Democrat who sent me a tweet basically pointing out how, look at all these people in New York dancing the Trump dance. They got together to do this. And I told him, listen, when you win, you push a transsexual identity, you push for censorship, you push for authoritarianism. I push for dancing.
That's
all right. This is the fundamental difference in the two. So if you want to come over to my area where when we win, we dance, we don't look to do the sort of things that actually hurt the Constitution, by all means, there's plenty of room over here.
And where are you in your path, your journey? Like, if you're that Democrat that reached out to you, where is he?
Lost.
For sure. Absolutely lost. But does he realize that? I guess that's where I'm going with this. Does he realize he's lost? Does he realize that none of the things that his party supports, mainstream America supports?
See, this is where I think Rhino has this opportunity, because Rhino gets to get in the muck on a regular basis, and I like it. But Rhino also gets to now say, listen, we've been fighting at this for several years. But now that you know that I'm right, it's like now can you see what I've been trying to tell you? And some people will wake up to that, Rhino.
Yeah, I think everybody is going to look back and say everything we said. I mean, every conspiracy theory that they threw out there that we said was something, well, it's come to be true. And everything that they're doing is exactly what we predicted they'd be doing, down to the fact that no matter what Joe Biden says, he's going to pardon his son. He's going to do whatever he can to cover up any kind of corruption whatsoever. And that's why I think it's very interesting that they said, no, this goes all the way through Burisma, Ukraine, everything. He is pardoned. He's pardoned from human trafficking women across state lines. Everything is pardoned. I'm glad that we have this opportunity to expose them. I think Kash Patel is going to be great with the FBI leading that. I think that there's a lot of great leaders out there that Donald Trump is like, hey, you're not the guy that I thought you were, and got rid of them. And then there's bringing in people now he's vetted out pretty well to know, hey, this is going to help fix this republic.
Part of what this does is that it now really starts to eat away at what the Democrats have had left. And what they've had left is, at least Joe was a signal of class, and look at how good of a person he is. And
that's
look
over.
What that is now over. That goes out the window. And when we talked about the Teapot Dome scandal of all things, like a year and a half ago, ended up breaking down. Here was the biggest scandal in American history where an administration was benefiting from it. It wasn't the president. I told you what Joe Biden and his family were involved in made Teapot Dome scandal look like a little drop of just like a little drop of water in a pond. It was nothing in comparison.
The most corrupt political family, maybe in American history.
Yeah,
I can't think of anybody
at the highest levels.
At the highest, I can't think of anybody in American politics who's been more corrupt than Joe Biden. And they told you, well, the adults are coming back. You know, we're gonna give some, like Lo said, everything's gonna be dignified again. We're going to run this thing the way it's supposed to be ran. We're gonna get away from that crazy Donald Trump and that crazy behavior. And then you learn that all of it is a facade. Donald Trump was doing the right thing, and the Democrats, from everybody in the intel community, everybody throughout the government, the deep state, the swamp, anybody that didn't believe in that now knows that is a fact. That exists in Washington, D.C., and Joe Biden was the man that was running it or at least he was the figurehead of the people running it and handling it.
Well, look how they're reacting to every pick that he's doing. Look how afraid they seem to be. I mean, they are really, really worried about the deep state being ripped apart, guys. This is why they keep, John Bolton's reaction to Kash Patel was amazing. It was just shows you how afraid they are that they're going to be exposed for everything they did. Every censorship of every American, every unjust, criminal prosecution against not only Donald Trump, but against, the Jan 6 people, too. Everything is coming to light, and they are so afraid of who Donald Trump has picked because they know that this is actually people who are going in to do the job, to clean up the government, and to really balance the checkbook.
Well, biggest story moving forward is what is happening with Kash Patel and the dismantling of the deep state. That's the big story. But,
right.
But when Joe Biden did what he did last night.
That's right.
And it was so damaging to their party. Suddenly, something like Kash Patel, which is going to have such a monumental effect on what we've seen with some of the people that have occurred with some of the issues of January 6th, with some of the abortion clinics, all of these things that have gone on moving forward, these prosecutions, suddenly you go, all right, there's hope on this end. But when Joe Biden did what he did, and I threw it on MSNBC this morning, they haven't even touched it because that's how nuclear tainted it is.
No,
they're busy talking about Kash Patel. They know not to touch Joe Biden, Rhino.
The last thing they want to talk about is Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's the last thing they want to talk about. It was a complete disaster. From everything they tried to, he's cognitively great. He's fine. He's juggling swords. He's good. And now all of a sudden everybody's, turned on Joe Biden, and everybody else. But the reality is they're all afraid.
Well, nobody can defend it. Nobody can defend this. I've never seen any kind of weaponization like I have against a different political party. Everything that they're trying to now all of a sudden say, well, Kash Patel is just going to be the soldier for Donald Trump and his dictatorship. It's everything that they've been doing.
Well, consider that with what Joe Biden did last night, it's going to give Donald Trump a very wide berth on so many different issues. If Kash Patel comes in and you start having people resign, at no point are you going to be able to say, well, look at the mayhem that's going on. It's like your son was doing cocaine and you hid the laptop. All right, and then you pardoned him. You'll always be able to go to that. What do you mean you're going to pardon these January 6ers? Hey, this is what you did when it came to $1 billion flowing through Ukraine. You get to do all of this stuff now.
Every one of them. Every one of the January 6ers. Every one of them need to be pardoned day one.
We have been very adamant about this, Rhino, and very consistent that if you did wrong on that day, well, then you should have your day in court and catch some portion of the law. We have said that. Yeah. Now, I don't care if you defecated on Nancy Pelosi's desk.
Every one of them.
You all get to go. You all get to go home.
Every one of them. Dude, everybody gets their golden ticket. Everybody gets their free pass because there's nobody above the law. That's what Joe Biden told me, and that's what KJP told me continually. And yet, they lied to you again. This is not the first time they've lied to you. They've lied to you over and over and over again. But this one is with a spotlight on it.
What happens when they release all the documents that have to do with Jan 6 too? It's going to be a nightmare for Democrats, and that's why I think they're afraid of everything that's going on with Kash Patel and the FBI as well. He's going to expose everything that happened, how many agents were sent out there to Jan 6. But I agree. I think you should pardon every single one of them. Is any one of them as bad as trafficking women and doing cocaine across state lines and doing the things that Hunter Biden did? I don't think so. I mean, there are some that attack police that I'm kind of concerned about. I'd like to see more video, though, because when you find out that it's 44,000 more hours of video that nobody's ever seen, that they were hiding, that they put together this special committee of just pieces of garbage like Dan Goldman, Liz Cheney, and Adam Kinzinger. I want to see it all, and I want to see it exposed. So, yeah, I'm with you. Pardon every single one of them. Go ahead and open it up and have them in the inauguration. Have them there, front row. That's all I care about. That'd be a lot of fun.
Sunlight is the most amazing disinfectant. We talk about the idea of exposing all of this stuff to the people. And we talk about our generation. Gen X is a generation of tear it down, let's rebuild this thing back up. Is there going to be pain? Yeah, probably. That's going to be part of it. But we are on board for all of this stuff. If you were to, because it started really during the summer, when you ended up lining out the 21 shell companies and saying, here's how this money has been moving around through Ukraine, through the Biden family. Here's what they've been doing with it. Here's how they've enriched themselves. All right, that being said, now show me everything. Because I don't care if it's January 6th. I don't care if it's Kennedy assassination. I don't care if it's all. It's like, get it all out there and show you how ridiculous this thing has gone over the last 50 years. And if we want to fix it, we can start with a bunch of outsiders that are looking to tear it apart.
Dude, yesterday
and
at
aliens.
church.
Don't forget
aliens. Thank you, Rhino.
Yes,
Never forget aliens.
Supposed to make sure we work those guys into. No, but
I just respect that he just knows, like he really wants to say aliens. It's in the 6 o'clock hour. He's not going to say aliens yet. Thank you, Rhino.
But yesterday at church, the whole message was exactly what you just said. Light is the disinfectant for darkness. Obviously, they were talking about in the spiritual realm, but that applies everywhere. That is a truth that you cannot escape.
If you can be honest with yourself, and at times, honesty's ugly sometimes.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine if you have to admit to things that you've been involved in and they don't make you or your family look good? You have to admit some of the problems you may be dealing with. But when you do, there is something that amazing that happens. There's a cleansing of the spirit. There's a cleansing of this country that could potentially happen if we are just able to say, here's where we've done it wrong. Now we have to do it right. No, by the way, here's all the paperwork how we were doing it wrong.
100%. Just transparency, opaqueness. And I would say that this, I don't know, this may be the banner moment, Biden pardoning Hunter. This may be the banner moment for what everybody in America voted for, at least the overwhelming majority of people in America voted for. They wanted something different because what we just saw last night was exactly the problem. And I think that's what Americans voted against.
But let's put it this way, make it really simple. Rhino, what did you vote for? Like, what made you, outside of just the belief in Donald Trump, what was the overall spirit of something you said, this is the reason why I'm getting up and I'm going to go vote?
Well, number one was energy for me and returning the economy to where it was. That was number one for me.
And I'll tell you, like, okay, because those economic factors are a huge thing to me. I went, what is the biggest wrecking ball?
That's exactly it.
To this deep state operation. The fact that you had, and Rhino has been so clear about pointing it out, the very first day they got into office, they went after these key elements, knowing it was going to create problems for the American people so that they could grow the size of government. That's what I wanted to take a wrecking ball to. It was energy, it was education, it was obviously the application of the law, all of it. So all of this stuff, I'm like, here, let's do it.
Absolutely, but I think the Hunter pardon is, if there's a bow on top for people that voted against all that corruption, that's the banner moment where they're like, that's what I wanted rid of.
That's mission accomplished for us. That's pointing out that it's us versus the establishment, and the establishment looks at you as being subservient to them.
When we continue on Extra 106.3, they are worried. Andrew McCabe specifically, we'll let you hear from him, worried about Kash Patel, but wait till you hear the reasons that he's worried about Kash Patel. You will roll your eyes so far back in your head you won't be able to see, and then you'll laugh uncontrollably at the foolishness. Next on the Morning Extra. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10.
Historian Victor Davis Hanson says the Dems are now the party of the upscale professionals, rich and subsidized poor.
Subsidized poor.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Hey there, I'm Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly, Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine, where you'll find familiar faces, local voices, and community businesses like Vera Whole Health.
Hi, I'm Reggie. We at Vera Whole Health aren't your average primary care provider. We offer behavioral health clinicians, health coaches, nurses, and registered dietitians. Our staff coordinates each patient's individualized needs through a highly cared team of providers. Also, we are so thrilled to offer services to Blue Cross and Blue Shield members in Georgia and are now accepting new patients. As a matter of fact, you can even get same-day or next-day appointments as well as virtual care options for easy convenience. We'd love to meet you. Reach out to heyvera.health/anthem or just call 404-850-0045 to schedule today.
Thanks, Reggie. All in one care, all in one place. Sounds great to me. We love our advertising partners, and remember, our town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
At Diamonds Direct, we have the perfect gifts for the season, starting at around $500. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas, see the online seasonal gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant. We've got special financing, so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Are you tired of dealing with drafty, inefficient windows? Do you have certain rooms in the house that you can't keep cool in the summer or warm in the winter? Hi, I'm Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage Entry Doors and Windows. It's time to upgrade these old windows. Replace them with double-pane, beautiful, energy-efficient windows. Your new windows will help you regulate a perfect temperature throughout your house. Start saving big money on your energy bills and improve the curb appeal of your home. Give us a call today at 770-517-7078.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Xtra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the podcast park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Wednesday, November 27th. Oh, wait, what am I talking about?
You're doing great, buddy.
Monday, December 2nd. I'm a little behind here. Jalen Mosley, 19, was arrested and charged with the murder of a 70-year-old man during a carjacking in Atlanta over the weekend. Mosley, who is from Houston, Texas, already held outstanding warrants for his arrest in Houston. Medics transported the 70-year-old victim to the hospital where he later died from his injuries. Mosley faces charges including murder, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, armed robbery, and hijacking of a motor vehicle. He is currently being held in the Fulton County Jail. Cobb County Police are investigating a double shooting at the Chroma Park Apartments in Austell. Authorities report that 2 victims were transported to the hospital, though their conditions are currently unknown. Police are still searching for a suspect, but have stated that they do not believe there is any danger to the public at this time. The story is still developing. And in sports, the Atlanta Falcons lost their 3rd consecutive game after a tough outing for quarterback Kirk Cousins, who threw 4 interceptions. The Los Angeles Chargers capitalized on the turnovers, securing a 17-13 win on Sunday. Despite the loss, the Falcons remain in first place in the NFC South with a 6-6 record. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Xtra 106.3.
So if you are a former deputy director of the FBI, you probably have a pretty good idea what's going on in the agency. So it shouldn't shock you when the incoming president, Donald Trump, nominates a guy like Kash Patel, because you already know the corruption that is happening in the deep state, the corruption that's happening in the DOJ. You had Chuck Schumer, if you recall, telling Donald Trump, don't cross the intel communities. They have 6 ways to Sunday to get you back. So we all know about what's happening at the FBI. But it's very, very interesting the way Andrew McCabe, the former deputy director of the FBI, talks about the incoming, if Kash Patel is nominated, the incoming FBI director. Listen to this. It's about 1 minute, 20 seconds, but listen to it, and we'll react to it after it's over.
It's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI and also for the nation that depends on a highly functioning, professional, independent Federal Bureau of Investigation. The fact that Kash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job is not even like a matter for debate. What we should really be thinking about right now is what does this signal in terms of Donald Trump's intent for the FBI? The installation, or the nomination, I guess we should say at this point, of Kash Patel as FBI director can only possibly be a plan to disrupt, to dismantle, to distract the FBI, and to possibly use it as a tool for the president's political agenda. And, you know, as an organization, we know what that looks like. This country has been there before, right? The pre-Watergate FBI, the J. Edgar Hoover FBI struck fear in the hearts of Americans across the spectrum of politicians, people in entertainment, people in the civil rights community, because the director operated at the direction of presidents to collect political intelligence and to utilize the legal authorities, the investigative authorities of the FBI to terrorize and intimidate Americans. So the question is that where we're going back to with this nomination? I would argue that Kash Patel would be the perfect person for Donald Trump to nominate if that's in fact his intent for the FBI.
Good heavens. Okay, let's where to begin? Independent. That's what he said. He said we need an independent FBI. We don't have that now. He said this is a intent to disrupt or dismantle the FBI. Yes, that's exactly what I voted for, sir. Thank you for pointing that out. Then he talked about it being politicized, kind of like it is now. He said you could go back to Watergate and see when they were going after civil rights activists and Hollywood actors and actresses and their political opponents, kind of like it is right now. We know what that looks like. Yes, we do. We just voted against it because we know what it looks like. And this is meant to terrorize and intimidate people. Yes, the deep state is who we want to intimidate, and we would like to terrorize them until they leave. That's my reaction to what he just said.
This is all they have. Look, they're doing this with every single pick that, you know, this is all to go back to Donald Trump is a dictator. This is the complete idea. No, what this is rehauling the entire government and making it more productive and less weaponized. That's all this is. Kash Patel is not somebody who just came off the street. This is a guy who's a lawyer. This is a guy who served in intelligence and defense roles, and nobody had a problem with it in the first term. Chris Wray, he was actually appointed by Donald Trump. Nobody said these things about him. They are afraid of all the money that they are going to lose when Donald Trump starts pulling away all their pet projects. This is self-preservation for all these Democrats and all these lunatics who keep trying to create fear.
I talked about when I had that liberal woman hit me at the bar. It wasn't hard. It was like she was just mad. She was just frustrated because she was in the lion's cage and she wasn't going to win any discussion with me. But I would like to think that if I was sitting next to her again, her and I could probably agree on one thing. We don't need politics as part of our criminal organizations,
especially law enforcement.
Law enforcement should not have any bit of politics involved in it. And if we can agree there, then you can take everything that McCabe said and go, that's exactly the reason why I voted for this. This is exactly why I'm excited about Kash Patel. I love the idea that you can post what you want to post online, good, bad, or indifferent to my mood or how I care about the world. And I don't have to worry about the FBI knocking on the door to ask you questions.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I voted for. And that's the thing, man. Hollywood is afraid. The deep state is scared to death. Because he said he's going to end the overclassification of information to give Americans the transparency necessary to give you trust in your federal law enforcement again. So I'm guessing you'll stop seeing raids on pro-life families, infiltrating churches, no more guns drawn on family concerned about what their kids being taught in school or praying in front of Planned Parenthood.
By the way, and I think that's really important, and you just kind of jumped through it. Early on in this administration, they circled people that go to church, people that go to school boards, and thought of them as being enemies that the FBI should keep an eye on. I mean, ponder that. If you're interested in your local politics, the FBI had a memo talking about how you were to be watched differently by local officials and by the federal government because you were a potential criminal.
No more.
We had people praying in front of abortion clinics. I mean, come on, man. But then, not only that, even during the Jan 6, roundup, when they were FBI put up billboards of your neighbors and put them out there because they were there, not because they did anything, just because they were there. And then they went and arrested these people. And what did the FBI say was part of the reason? They had things like the pocket constitution, which were propaganda. That's what the FBI was. You want to talk about a Gestapo? You want to talk about a secret police? That's what the FBI has been to Joe Biden and the Democrats for so long, attacking anybody that they don't agree with politically. Now they're afraid that they're not going to be able to do that anymore. I mean, is that what they're really upset about?
Horrified they won't be able to do it.
We won't be able to do the job anymore. No, you won't do the job as the checka. All right, that's what we're trying to avoid here. When I have talked about taking the FBI and shattering it into 1,000 pieces and throwing it to the wind, I wasn't kidding around. This was the only way to fix this organization. And if Kash Patel is able to shake it up, if at the very least he's able to have the top end, the director level and above, all these people right in this area end up resigning because they recognize the party's over, and it gets the regular person, the regular agent on the ground excited about their work again, then he's done something good.
And I would imagine that there are plenty of officers in the FBI that are patriots, that love this country, that want to do their job correctly, but they see so many obstacles to being able to do that because it's not encouraged. I mean, you brought up some of the things that they're to look out for. Man, I fall into almost every category: white, male, Christian, veteran. They had stars by every one of those.
Watch out for Tug.
That's exactly right. Watch out for me. I'm the guy you need to watch out for. But that's the thing, Rhino. I do believe that there are plenty of people in the FBI that want to do things the right way and care about their country. I just think it is probably everybody at the top needs to go, without a doubt. And then probably what's that?
They're the ones that aren't leaving right now. The ones that are leaving, you're like, okay, bye.
Yes,
because they're ready to get out. The ones that want to work, the ones that want to do the right thing, I guarantee you there are plenty of FBI agents who actually want to do what's right. And now they feel like finally, because how many of us have been at work, especially out there, that listen every single morning that are like, I'm going to be quiet about my political feelings. I'm going to be quiet about the way we're doing this, even in work. Hey, I don't want to say my boss is wrong in this because I want to keep my job. There's so many FBI agents that are like,
finally, I think that's right.
Somebody in here that's going to respect what we do for a living.
I think that's exactly right. And I know an FBI agent. He doesn't talk about politics. He doesn't talk about his job. I know very little about what he does. I just know he's an FBI agent. And occasionally there'll be just a little smattering of, I was here for this or I was looking out for that. He's one of those guys. He's one of those guys that wants to do things the right way. And though he never brings it up, I know who he is. I know where he goes to church. I know his kids and his wife and his family very, very well. So I know where he falls on this. And I know that he's one of those people that we're talking about.
You ever been part of an organization that is doing something that goes against your very moral fiber, your code, and you just kind of just bear it? It's fine. I'll go along with it. Okay. And quiet in little corners. Everybody kind of winks at one another of, this is BS, right?
Yep.
That's what I imagine the FBI has been for the better part of probably about 4 or 5 years.
But this is not going to be easy, though. Let's not pretend that just getting Kash Patel into that seat is going to be an easy turnaround for the FBI, because those tentacles are deep. Those roots are deep. I mean, look at what they did to create the impeachment against Donald Trump. I mean, they went every way they could. And when they couldn't get it done themselves, they started leaking things to the media. So the media would create this new hype train of Trump as a traitor and Russiagate and all this stuff. Even when they failed on their own, and they worked really, really hard to get Trump impeached, when they couldn't do it, they couldn't get him out of office. Or prevent him from coming back into office, for that matter. But when they couldn't do it, they turned it over to the media because they had friends in the media. Those friends are dying out, not because of anything that they've done. I guess it is because people have lost complete trust in the media. That's the thing. Now, I guess my whole point is they don't have that ally anymore.
No, Gallup actually had the numbers on this. Gallup had a poll out about a week and a half ago. The media is at an all-time low in terms of the trust and the integrity factor. And so when you had the deep state, their entire plan was, if we can just keep Trump out of office by using the media, and we'll say that Kamala Harris is the greatest thing since sliced bread, brother, you went to the last place you should have gone to. Like, this is going to change so much of how we do these elections that you're going to be trying to speak directly to the people. Because if you use the media, Rhino, it's different. It's different when it comes from Rhino's mouth, because Rhino is not sitting back going, well, I've been informed by the RNC that I have to say this. No, we have never once gotten an email from anybody, even when we've had a candidate on, who says you have to say this. We have been allowed to ask whatever, or not say that. We've been allowed to ask whatever we want. That is different when it comes to the legacy media right now.
Yeah, I mean, most of them say, hey, I'm on this bill. And I'm like, cool, I don't like that bill. They're like, all right, well, let's talk about it. That's a good thing about what we do. And we've done it so many times. I'm really interested to see, though, how many Republicans, because that's the scary part for me. You got a 53-47 majority in the Senate. How many Republicans come out against some of these picks, and especially Kash Patel, that don't like him? We've already heard from some that have said it, but most of them, I mean, Ted Cruz gave him an endorsement yesterday. I thought it was brilliant what he said. So I hope that most of the Senate will be whipped into shape and confirm most of Trump's picks, because they need to realize we are going to fundamentally change this. We are going to sit and talk about it and do what's right. We're not the media. Again, we're not the people that want to sit and watch as you corrupt our lives and then hold us responsible for everything and then weaponize against us. We're done with it. So I'm hoping that they start to see this.
Yeah, and Christopher Wray, buddy, your days are numbered. Step aside, sir. We need you to move along because we want to fundamentally change. We're going to steal Barack Obama's line. We want to fundamentally change America back to what it was supposed to be, and not this crazy leftist woke ideology that has lost and failed even the Democrat Party.
It's a smiling point
forward, if you will.
Yes.
I'm telling you, this is a great freaking Monday morning to get up to all of this stuff and recognize that 2008 to 2024 Obama era politics that had its tentacles deep into this current administration, it's dead, it's buried, it's gone. And I will tell you, 39 minutes into this hour, MSNBC has yet to bring up
not a word
that Joe Biden pardoned his son. You know what? Pete Hegseth, he might be an alcoholic. There's all their stuff they're trying. This is what they have left, is having to point over at us and say, well, maybe this happened. Well, I know what happened last night.
Absolutely.
It's over.
And y'all are not going to report on it at all. You're not going to mention it? Not even a word about it? Dude, that's what the Democrat Party is, Rhino. That's what they are.
It is so funny because I read an entire article from MSNBC trashing their own hosts, Mika and Joe there, for actually going and sitting with him, saying that they made a huge mistake. They're turning on themselves. They don't know which way is up. The poor Democrats and the media have lost their mind. They don't even want to come close to reporting this because they defended that Joe Biden wouldn't pardon.
Maybe it's for later this week, but I did ponder how I could save the entire Democrat Party. The problem is, the very first thing I would say, they're all going to go, you misogynist, racist, homophobe. No matter what, they'll have a label for it. And then you just look at them and say, you're not mentally equipped to ever change.
Absolutely not.
Some of you will. Come on over here.
There's a few, maybe a handful. All of a sudden, even the Democrats are in favor of deportations in places that you might not expect. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3, Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. After that, Beck, Clay, and Buck, the biggest show in all of conservative media, and the local afternoon flamethrower, the Kimmer, from 3 until 6. Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Extra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
The same ballless bastards who wouldn't stand up when Biden came up with the most embarrassing and worst withdrawal in the history of the U.S. military.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't stand up when they pushed drag queens in recruitment, and now they can't get anybody to join. Who didn't stand up when the DI stuff was shoved down their throat, where they all kept quiet in the background, will suddenly find their balls when Trump is president. This is the same military a few years ago when Milley was in charge, who said he would alert the Chinese military if Trump was going to do something against them, which is treason. Why is his head not on a pike?
That story disappeared. That story was a story for maybe a day and a half, and it was like a side note saying, well, he even told the Chinese once he really ought to, and it was just like it was like a Shakespearean aside. That black ram is stopping your white you. I mean, I couldn't freaking believe it. It's gone. Nobody remembers that stuff.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Winter is just around the corner. And you waking up this morning, I don't know, it's 29 degrees out here. Maybe you'd say it's already here. But when it comes to unpredictable storms, your home's roof and siding, is it ready to handle that type weather? Southern Exteriors is where you can go for reliable roof and siding options. Whether you need a new roof, repairs, durable siding that stands up to the elements, they're here to help you. Plus, they're offering free estimates and 0% interest, no payments for up to 6 months. I encourage you, hey, it's Tug, to call Southern Exteriors today. 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. It's important to get the website right. southernexteriors.co. I know a lot of people want to just naturally put .com because it's what everybody hears right all the time. It's not that. southernexteriors.co. Quality and precision you can rely on.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, the Marketing Mad Men. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Mad Men every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Extra 106.3.
Furniture.com America LLC seeks a data scientist in Atlanta, Georgia to develop and maintain data science products. Position requires a master's degree or foreign equivalent in statistics, mathematics, computer science, or related field of study, plus 1 year of experience in data science. Hybrid remote position. To apply, submit resume to bzupa@roomstogo.com. Again, to apply, submit resume to bzupa@roomstogo.com.
This is Bruce Hagan, the people's lawyer. When I started my firm, it was with the idea of providing personal representation for personal injury cases. We treat everybody like family, and it makes me so proud to work with my son to provide a great family-oriented law firm.
This is Matt Hagan. As a father-son team, we know the importance of working together to get our clients back on their feet. Let us here at Hagan Law be your advocates. You can find everything you need to know at hagan-law.com.
hagan-law.com.
Hey Roswell, looking for the perfect bite this football season? Head on over to Nucky's Hoagie's Roswell Corners, where every sandwich is crafted with love by us.
The Sub Sisters,
Stacy
and Shannon. Whether you're looking to cater a football tailgate party or grabbing lunch to go or dining in, we've got delicious Nucky's menu items for you. When you bite into a Nucky's Hoagies, you'll taste the difference. The softest hoagie rolls ever, with the freshest ingredients that'll make your taste buds dance.
Make Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell Corners on Woodstock Road your new favorite sandwich spot.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. With daily commentary you'll hear throughout the day. And he's on live with the Morning Extra every Tuesday morning at 7:30. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3. And catch all of Neil's commentary on the Extra app.
I read an article this weekend from Newsweek, and it was some state representative in New York saying, we want to leave the United States, but not like just pack up and leave. They wanted to make New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, I forget the fourth, but we want to make those states a province of Canada. That's what we're in favor of, because we want to be sanctuary cities. We want to do all these crazy things that are against what, the American people have voted for. But they wanted their liberal bastion. They want to join Canada. Now, nobody's taking that serious. I mean, it sounds as dumb to say it out loud as it did when I read it. And the opposite is happening with the governor of the state of New York.
I want to give you a number. and that number is 55. Now, that doesn't seem like a crazy number to you. What's the big deal about 65 or 55? 55 was the percentage of the vote that went for Kamala Harris in the state of New York. Understand that moves about 7 points into the favor of Donald Trump from the previous election. Now, what's the big deal about 7 points? Man, when something moves in a state that's that large by 7 points, it means there's a lot of people that are changing their minds about what is going on there. 1 point, 2 point, fine, that's good. 7 points and as many as 20 points in some different communities have moved in the state of New York. So take a listen to Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, when they bring up the idea of mass deportations. If she was talking 3 months ago, it wouldn't sound like this.
Someone breaks the law, I'll be the first one to call up ICE and say, get them out of here. So there is a difference in categories of individuals. And so I just had a meeting this morning with my team that's been studying all the scenarios that could play out over the next few months and what we need to do to prepare. We'll be announcing more about that and also making sure that our final requests to the Biden administration are secure. And so that's something else, again, I'll do a report on what we've achieved in the next couple of weeks.
Now, Rhino, I'll point this out to you and bounce you this basketball. We started by saying there's going to be different versions of mass deportations, but it's going to start with the criminal element. And if Kathy Hochul's then saying it, I don't understand why not everyone around the country is saying it.
Yeah, I don't think they've realized that, hey, we got to stop with the lies that we keep throwing out there, that they're just going to rip families apart, take them apart, and make sure that they're never together again. No, this starts with the bad people, the criminals. We keep seeing every single day, we see more and more criminals that are getting away and that are actually really bad criminals. I mean, nothing that Trump has said is untrue when it came to who's coming across the border. So, yeah, I think Kathy Hochul is getting a lot of pressure from New York, a lot of the voters in New York, and I think that a lot of people are starting to stand up and saying, yeah, we're okay with this in this city. You've overrun our city. We don't want to be a sanctuary city anymore.
Yeah. I got to say, if you came into the country illegally, you broke the law. You're a criminal. So every single person is a criminal. Are there levels of criminality? Absolutely. But in my view, dude, if you broke the law, you got to go.
No, and that's pretty general that I'm right there on board with you. But I think if we're going to do this in a way that makes the most sense, it's going to have to be in a structure by which we are basically saying, listen, if you're holding down a job in construction and you're not here legally, you know what? I'm not saying it's a pathway to citizenship, but you aren't in the crosshairs. All right, you know who is? That person that we know after they came across, we knew they had a criminal history in whatever country they were in, and they brought it with them, and then they continued their criminal enterprise. I don't understand why the gangs aren't first and foremost something where we would not commit everything from our FBI and every law enforcement official to get the criminal gangs out first and let's move from here.
I mean, ICE is saying in New York City right now, 58,000 hardened criminals. There's 640,000 that they know of. This is just people that they know. Yeah. 640,000 nationwide, 1,000 gang members in New York City. That's from ICE themselves. I expect that number's low, but it oftentimes makes me wonder, okay, if we know that about New York and we know the number nationwide, or at least we have an idea of the number nationwide, what does it mean for Atlanta? But in this city specifically that we live in, wonder what that number is. Because I guarantee you, with the access to the interstate, the airport being the busiest in the world, that the number is probably very similar in Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, Tug, I'll tell you this. I saw this over the weekend that we in Georgia alone, just Georgia, not even Atlanta, let's talk about the entire state. We had more of an influx of illegal criminals and illegal aliens than anyone else in the country. And that's the weirdest part to me, is that you'd think Texas, but no. And that's on growth, obviously, over the past year. Texas is just unfortunately overwhelmed every single day. But outside of Texas, Georgia's number one. So imagine how many, because how many stories have I done about an illegal cartel with fentanyl being found in Norcross, being found in Duluth and Gwinnett and other areas, Atlanta. We're seeing it every single day. I don't know why it's not on the radar more here in the state. I think Governor Kemp has to start really looking into this and saying, hey, here's where we stand. This is what we have here illegally. This is how many criminals we believe, and this is how many we need to get out of this state.
When you look at the numbers of South Texas, I tell you about how South Texas is different from California or Arizona or New Mexico. South Texas has been so inundated for decades with illegal immigration that they can't stand it. And you look at the places that hate it the most, it's South Texas. And it's predominantly Mexican origin. Okay, these are people that have been Hispanic and have been Americans and have been here for 150 years, and they look at it and say, this is not right what's going on at the border. Okay, with that being pointed out, when you then see where this is going and you recognize that the idea of, it's just Mexicans who are coming across and doing work and then going back home, that's not the math of what's going on here anymore. These are people that are from around the world, and they do not share your values. Largely,
and don't want to.
Largely, the Mexican people kind of share our values. They're into the same stuff we are into. But when you're coming from, let's say, Afghanistan, man, you're coming to a place where, let's just say that having sex with a child for us culturally is wrong. It ain't wrong in Afghanistan.
No, that's right.
And these people are bringing their culture here.
And that's the thing, because they always tell you, well, the illegal immigrants that are coming across the border, they don't commit crimes. Native-born Americans commit more crimes.
By percentage.
Yes, it's the silliest nonsense you've ever heard in your life, and nobody believes it, and that's why we voted the way we did.
Well, the governor of New York, and Rhino, you know this from living there, that this is not supposed to be where she sounds Trumpian, and yet she's echoing Donald Trump at this point.
Yeah, she's supposed to be blue. She's supposed to be a full Democrat and almost progressive in that manner. And yeah, she sounds like Donald Trump. But I'm telling you, people are starting to realize the drain on their entire system. They can't do anything for the people that they're supposed to be representing, which are their constituents, because all the money's tied up and given to somebody who doesn't deserve it. You have to be careful about the way you tread water when you do this. I think there are plenty of criminals you need to get rid of first. We're not going to worry about, some kid crying because their father who raped 3 people is being sent back to Mexico. I'm sorry, I don't feel bad for your child at that point. You've done this to them. This is, and obviously you always feel bad for a child.
You feel bad for the kid, but you know that getting the kid away from that person is a good thing.
The best. Yeah, that's the best thing that can happen to that child. So, it's just going to be the way they handle it. They can't handle it the way that Democrats are visioning in their head, and I don't think they will. I think we're going to do it the same way Clinton did it, the same way Obama did it, and the same way many, many presidents have done it over the past, 20, 25 years.
And the fun part for me is that the argument that comes from the other side, and this is the far fanatical end of it, it's, when you go to that hotel in New York and you round everybody up, you just see what happens to your grocery prices. These people aren't working.
Right.
I was like,
they're living off of
you are not talking about people that are, what was the term that we used in the 90s? These people are living in the shadows.
That's right.
No, they're not. These are people that are living out loud right in front of you on your government teat. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're not giving anything to society where you say, wow, what a redeeming fact that this person decided to cross the border and come here. What they did is they crossed the border. They used the help of an NGO. They found themselves in New York, and they're in a hotel for free.
And what was the hotels at the Roosevelt, Rhino?
Yeah, the Roosevelt.
That's owned by
$700 to $800 a night normally.
Yeah, that's owned by the Pakistani government. So we're basically paying the Pakistanis to bring more.
We're allowing them the debt they owe us. We're telling them, hey, gratis. If you let us use your hotel to put these people in here, you don't have to pay us back.
But essentially, it is money laundering is all it is. We're paying for the illegal immigrants to come here. It's absurd. All of it's absurd, and I think the American people have had enough of it, and that's why they voted the way they did. Oh, by the way, just quickly, 6:52 and 29 seconds. That is when they finally mentioned President Biden.
6:54.
No. When they first mentioned 6:52:29, they're talking about it now. They've been talking about it for 2 minutes. I saw the when it first popped up, I was like, oh.
The back end of the hour.
Yeah.
Let's see if they'll start their 7 or 8 o'clock hour.
That's going to be the key.
It's going to be buried the rest of the day.
I'm telling you,
buried the whole rest of the day.
That's exactly right. It's going to be in the final part of the hour. It's freaking jerks.
That's all they're going to say. We mentioned it. What are you talking about?
And no, look, they've spent 3 minutes on it now. But again, burying it in the final part of the hour when most people aren't listening. That's when you have your lowest ratings on any hour. Is the last part of the hour. So
typically, people are just getting into work. If you have to be at work at 7, you're just now jumping out of the car. I got you here.
But
you missed it on MSNBC.
Missed it all. That's exactly right. All right, when we come back, FBI Director nominee Kash Patel wants to tell the American people everything they want to know next on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Extra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
You don't have to be compassionate to scumbags. I mean, you can treat people decently as human beings, but you don't have to make them easier to commit their crimes. I mean, but that's not it. Is that it? I don't think when they say Jesus turned the other cheek, it's not so he can murder somebody else without noticing. I mean, my God.
He also took a whip to some people.
Yeah, he did the whole thing with the tower and the money. I mean, he was pretty angry there once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it wasn't all diseases and caveman stuff, God. Of course, we're experts in this, ordained ministers.
We're ministers.
Well, ordained ministers, I'm telling you.
One of us has read more than the other one, it seems.
Well, the guy in the cave with the disease and the dirty clothes, and Jesus got him out of there. I mean, come on, you know the story.
He was dead.
Parable.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Hey, Atlanta, it's Mark from the Safe House. And now the security riddle of the day. When times get tough, where do you keep your stuff? Answer, in a quality safe from the Safe House, of course. Don't go to a big box store and get a fake safe. That would be as effective as Joe Biden's fake border policy. For over 30 years, the Safe House has been providing the best quality safes on the market. Brands like Browning, Fort Knox, and Champion. And with the largest selection of safes on display in Georgia, we're confident we can help you pick the right safe to fit your needs. So drop by our huge showroom or go to atlantasafehouse.com.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on this station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Neil Borch here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPsETC.com.
Media Minute with Howard Kurtz.
There's a raging debate in America over social media, especially for younger people, both the good side and the toxic side. As many people abandon X, these are liberals who don't like Elon Musk, for new outlets like Blue Sky. But Australia is not kidding around. Australia has passed and will be signed by the Prime Minister a bipartisan bill that will ban anyone under 16 from using social media, period. Now, the underage users are not going to be punished. Their parents are not going to be punished. But corporations that don't make reasonable efforts to enforce this ban could well be facing hefty fines. And they know that some kids will get around the ban, but they say it's important to send a message to these social media companies to clean up their act. With your Media Minute, Howie Kurtz, Fox News.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
President Biden is in Africa. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. He just visited Cabo Verde, an island nation off the coast. Now he's headed to Angola for a 3-day visit after causing controversy right before he left last night. President Biden pardoned his son Hunter. And Fox's Madeline Rivera reports.
Hunter was found guilty in June on 3 federal gun charges. In September, he pled guilty to 9 federal tax charges. He was supposed to have sentencing hearings on December 12th for his gun case and December 16th for his tax case. All of those now gone. But the president's pardon doesn't just cover these offenses. It covers any crime the first son may have committed between January 2014 to December 2024. And that time frame is notable, given that Hunter joined the board board of Burisma Holdings in 2014.
The House Republicans have spent years investigating Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings in an impeachment inquiry probing if the president was involved. GOP Congressman Corey Mills tells Fox.
There should be a continuation of investigation on Hunter for all the things that was going on, because this is one of the most corrupt families that we've ever seen in the White House.
President-elect Trump in a Truth Social post called the Hunter Biden pardon a miscarriage of justice, adding in a reference to all those convicted in the 2021 Capitol riot, does the pardon include the J6 hostages? Now, speaking of hostages, an American-Israeli soldier held in Gaza has been confirmed dead by Israel's military, which says Captain Omer Nuert was already dead when he was captured in Hamas's October 7th terror attack. As for the dozens still alive in Gaza,
over the weekend, the militants released a propaganda video showing another Israeli-American hostage, Eden Alexander. In it, he pleads with President-elect Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to do what they can to free the remaining captives.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. It's Cyber Monday. Americans getting deals online. After Black Friday, Adobe says we spent $10.8 billion, a record. America's listening to Fox.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Police officer and K-9 handler Jacob Russell Chaffins was fatally shot while attempting to serve warrants for domestic violence offenses. And thanks to friends like you and your generosity, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave the Chaffins family the gift of a mortgage-free home. There's so much more to do and to say thank you to our nation's heroes and their families for their immense sacrifices, all for us. Donate $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Tired of all the negative media manipulation? Wake up feeling right with a Morning Extra on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
On MSNBC, in the end of the 6 o'clock hour, welcome to the morning show, the Morning Extra, Tug, Rhino, and Los. At the end of the last hour, we were telling you that MSNBC waited until, let me get the exact time, 6:52:29 to talk about the Hunter Biden pardon from Joe Biden. What did they crank up with at 7 o'clock even? Back to bashing Kash Patel. So for the next hour, that's what you're going to see. It is going to be all just bashing Trump, bashing Kash Patel. Anything to do with Trump and his nominations are going to be just, ripped to shreds. And then when they get back to, this time it'll be 7:52:29. And then they'll go back to talking about the pardon of Hunter Biden when people are walking, out of the house to go into work or whatever, walking out of the house to leave for work, so nobody sees the coverage.
I like putting it on MSNBC because if you don't stretch, you don't grow.
No, that's right.
And so it's a chance to be able to look at it and go, what are they talking about? Because whatever they're not talking about is typically what we need to be talking about.
Exactly right.
I do find it funny, too, that, we talked about the golden parachute that Biden was going to get to step out of the race in the first place. And here's that golden parachute. And it worked out for him. But I think Biden's comment about, well, these kind of crimes would never be prosecuted the way they're being prosecuted against my son. Well, let's talk about 34 felony counts that were misdemeanors and told by New York State that they were not going to pursue, that all of a sudden now, which could have been one, right? One count if they wanted to, a felony, but they made it 34, and that's exactly the kind of weaponization we're talking about. And he has the nerve to say that these are trumped up charges. That's ridiculous.
Totally, man. Yeah. There's so many people in jail right now for doing the things that Hunter Biden did with guns and with trafficking of people. Everything he did, people are in jail for right now. And this man said no one is above the law. Well, I disagree. You've showed me that there is people above the law. There are people above the law. And your family are above the law. Y'all, look, in my opinion, have broken so many laws, are the most corrupt political family that the United States of America has ever seen, in my opinion. That is the way I believe. And I don't think there's anything at this point that convinced me otherwise. Los and I were just joking about this in the studio, Rhino, that they went back and they're like, okay, when did you start Burisma? Oh, 2014, April 2014. Okay, back that up to January just to give us some buffer room. January 2014 through right now, you are free and clear. And all this crap, all this freaking crap about Joe pardoning his son, the love of a father, he's doing what every good father would do, is a load of horse hockey. The reason I know that is because Joe is guilty just like Hunter, and this keeps him out of jail too. That's what's happened. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Keeps the whole family out of jail. It's not the love of a father. It is protection. He is protecting and insulating himself.
Yeah, this is Jill, this is Jim, this is Frank, this is all the Biden family that was involved in Burisma, involved in Ukraine, and laundering money. This goes back to the 26 biolabs. This is about Ukraine more than it is anything else. If it was just a gun charge and a prostitution charge, I don't think you even see a pardon. I think you let them roll with it. But the fact that Burisma is there in the background, that's why they're making sure that this gets done so nobody else goes down with him.
Well, had it been just a gun charge, I think we could have stomached this a lot better as far as the political people that follow this stuff. They would say, okay, I get it. Joe Biden might have a point that he was targeted because of who he is and his connection to me, and here's how it's going to be. The problem ends up being it happens to be your Justice Department that said, here's what we actually had him on, and we weren't allowed to go after him. Here's what it came down to. With that being said, you now have, when you blanket it over 10 years, I think that is that step that makes everyone recognize just how dirty the Bidens are.
That's right.
In
Waving
its
their
entirety.
hands. Absolutely waving your
If
hands.
it's just a gun charge or just a drug charge, I get it, because people have gotten off on this sort of stuff in the past from presidents on their way out. This is different.
Oh, my gosh. This is so different and so deep and so dirty and so disgusting. And
Rhino, I'm pardoning you for everything you've done from 2001 to 2022. How do you feel about that?
This is fantastic.
Not a traffic ticket or anything. It's like makes you want to go back in time and commit more crime.
Good Lord.
That's exactly what it is. And you're right. I mean, I think most of the American people, especially Republicans right now, are like, yep, told you. I knew it. I knew it. This is way deeper than we thought.
Yeah. Filthy. Absolutely filthy. So over at MSNBC, they're back on Kash Patel, as we told you, because they're barely touching the Hunter Biden story because they know it is so toxic. So, Kash Patel, let's give you the other side of the story. 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by Van Sant Law. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com. Kash Patel was on with Glenn Beck, who you can hear 10 to noon on Extra 106.3. And they got into a couple things that I want you to ponder as you hear the discussion about Kash Patel potentially being the next FBI director. Because he said he's going to put it all out there. He wants the transparency that you want, that Rhino wants, that Los wants, that I want, even Borat Captain Goey Virgin River wants. We all want it. Listen to some of the things that Kash Patel already knows that he can give you.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
That's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic schools.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a Black Book.
But the Black Book is not just sitting. That's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the Black Book. And not just that. On day one, roll out all of the text messaging communications we were told were deleted. On day one, play the rest of the video of the pipe bomber. On day, one of the reforms I talk about in Government Gangsters is you need a central node to be continuously declassifying. This is another thing they do. They overclassify. And I'm telling you, as a former number 2 in the IC, they overclassify 50% of the stuff there to protect the deep state. Oh, no, you can't see that. Nothing to see here. Gina was a master at it. And we still haven't seen half of the Russiagate report that we wrote. Still under lock and key on how the the ICA was originally constructed. We put 10,000 man hours against John Brennan's team that did it, and we found out why they came up with their bogus conclusion. But we couldn't sell it to the world because we couldn't talk about it, and the government gangsters came in and buried it. All of these things, there needs to be a continuing central power, whether it's the White House or offsite, that says every request that comes in, just right out the door, as long as it's not a major threat to national security.
Dude, that's exactly what we've been waiting on. We've been waiting on the person that says, we want to give you transparency. We want to show you transparency. We want to give you a reason to trust in what we're doing. Because back to our conversation earlier, Los, light is the biggest disinfectant to the darkness.
I think the reason why I like this idea of Kash Patel is for 2 weeks they've all said, please don't make it Kash Patel. Then when it became Kash Patel, and Rhino, I think this also jumps out to it, when you can articulate the problem to the American people, it makes it easier. It's almost like being able to identify the cancer. If you can't tell me where it is, you can't fix it. If you can tell me what it is, Rhino, you got a chance to do something about it.
Yeah, once you start connecting all the dots, then all of a sudden you can't go back, and that's what they're afraid of. They don't want the FBI to look the way it does look right now to most of America as a weaponized organization. I want to see everything. I want to see whose cocaine it was in the White House. I want to see everything that they have. I want JFK files. I want RFK files. I want every file that you have. I want Epstein's Black Book. I want it all, because we're going to see a lot, and it's going to wake people up. And I love that Kash Patel continues to say it, because how many times have we said it? The fact that they continue to hide things and the way they do it, oh, this is for the benefit. Americans can't handle the truth. We can handle the truth. In fact, we need the truth in order to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
That's right. And the truth is sometimes tough. And that's something that Lo said earlier. The truth is sometimes hard to hear. But when you do hear it, you can't deny it. You change who you are. Knowing the truth changes everything. Everything around you, everything you think, and everything people around you think, because now they have what they can make good decisions off of.
I compare this to sports, and I like that just because at times I think it makes sense to a lot of people. There used to be an era, win one for the Gipper. Here's how things are going to be. It's all for one. It's all for team. Well, now that's changed, obviously, with contracts at the college level with NIL. It's now a business, and that's how it's going to be. Just be honest about it. I think that if we were to point out what's gone wrong with the FBI is that it's no longer a organization that is strictly dealing with the criminals around the country and around the world. It has now become a faction of, all right, who are the biggest criminals? Well, it might be the American people. And so when Kash Patel basically tells you this is a gangster organization, these gangsters have rolled in, and here's how they're using an institution, this is where you're being honest about what is going on, and at that point you can fix it.
And you have to fix it. That's the thing. It has to be fixed. That's what we voted for, is to get it fixed.
Be honest about it.
And to be honest and completely transparent about it. And so far, the people that Donald Trump has surrounded himself with are in favor of transparency. RFK, he wants it all out on the table. Elon Musk, all out on the table.
I think at one point we looked at our FBI like they were the untouchables. Like this was an organization of people that they're here for America and they're going to do right. Well, the top isn't like that, and that is filtered down into policy across the board.
And it will continue.
Yeah, it's scary what they're doing, and it's been scary what they're doing. And again, I mean, the J6, I think that's going to be a huge story when you get information that's leaked, and hopefully Kash Patel will leak all of that about the FBI's involvement, not only in that, but in Gretchen Whitmer's kidnapping. I mean, that's a Democrat who was kidnapped by the FBI. I want all the information to show on both sides how the FBI decided to pick and choose what they wanted to do, and how Christopher Wray kind of fell into that trap of, hey, this is politics. You're going to play our game. Otherwise, you're going to lose your job. You're going to lose everything that you've ever worked for, and we're going to take it from you, because Chris Wray was a Donald Trump pick. He wasn't the right pick for Donald Trump, and it's time for him to step down or get fired. I think he'll step down. I think that people want to see the truth. I think we can all handle the truth. Listen, I know that this trans shooter in Nashville, when we get that manifesto, is going to be somebody who was far, far left, and they don't want that coming out as well. Everything needs to be exposed.
I love reading about the behavioral science unit that started with the FBI, because that ended up building into the lore of serial killers and how do we track them and who they're about. Like, that's the sort of work that the FBI was doing at one point, cutting edge sort of work. To think, as Rhino's pointing out, the Gretchen Whitmer case of we're going to kidnap her, you had 14 people that were part of this. 12 of them were FBI agents.
Right.
2 of them just happened to be idiots that went along, so it sounded like a cool club. Oh, you guys are going to do it. Yeah, all right, let's go ahead and let's go get her. And the other 12 went, haha, just kidding, FBI, we got you.
Called entrapment, I believe.
There's 2 morons, one of them like living in mom's base, another one living like in a vacuum shop, went along with it because they went, hey, there's 12 people that are paying attention to me.
Yeah,
that's what the FBI has now been doing.
Yeah, and then infiltrating maybe like January 6th. I wonder how many FBI agents were on the ground. We know they were there.
Not going to tell you, sir.
That's what but Rhino, that's what they've said. We can't tell you that. It's classified. Going back to the cut we played that Glenn Beck sat down with Kash Patel and talked about it. Just declassifying all that information so you know the truth, and the truth matters.
I'm looking forward to Ray Epps because over the weekend, if you're paying attention to the news, Ray Epps lost his defamation suit against media outlets because they said, well, no, you know what? You kind of came off as an FBI agent. You came off as a source. I'm looking forward for full transparency. I want to know who Ray Epps really is and why he was never prosecuted and others were when he was the one taking apart the fence and telling people we got to get inside the Capitol. We're going to find out a lot of truths, and I think a lot of Democrats, they're ready for an eye-opening, awakening experience, if you will, that they're going to see that their government wasn't exactly what they thought it was. And once again, like Democrats need to start thinking is, if we can do this to one party, well, the other party can do this to us as well. And it's all about the government and the uniparty taking control of the American people. This is full transparency. You're welcome.
Yep, the uniparty. This is how you start chipping away at this stuff. And as we point out, these are establishment people. This is not just because the uniparty, and we're going to see this play out. When we talk about Kash Patel, what is the biggest issue with him getting that job? Uniparty Republicans in the Senate. That's your next place.
Yeah,
that's your
absolutely.
next fight where these people are at.
Who we despise just as much as we despise Democrats.
And the uniparty is the Democrats and the Republicans who believe that they are there because they are the system, and the system is here to protect itself and to screw over everyday regular Americans.
So with that, we have elected the president that we feel like will be the disruptor. Now, he was called a threat by everybody. The mainstream media, even those uniparty Republicans. He is a threat to democracy. Now we see that he is actually going to put America on the right track, and most Americans agree with that. But by and large, you're seeing leaders around the world. They're standing up to work with Donald Trump. You saw the caravan being turned away in Mexico by Scheinbaum. Now, Justin Trudeau, he wants to work with Donald Trump too, Rhino.
Oh, yeah. Justin Trudeau realizes a lot of the problems that we're having with Canada is that their border's just as wide open and just as many criminals are coming across to the northern border as well as the southern border. And we know that 95 different countries are represented, and a lot of them we don't know how they got in, where they came in, because we focus so much on the southern border. And then when Donald Trump says this, and he says, hey, we're going to put tariffs on, look how quick everybody changed. Look how quick Justin Trudeau said, I'm going to get on a plane. I'm going to Mar-a-Lago. We're going to talk about this because we can't afford to lose. And a lot of their business, obviously, is the timber business. They have a lot of Canadian pine trees, with Canfor being one of their biggest exporters. And they realize, well, there's a lot of American companies that can go ahead and actually benefit from us not being able to bring the wood in that people use. So Trudeau's like, hey, we got to figure out how to save our economy. And that's what's happening now. They all realize the truth. They realize they need to shut the border down. But Donald Trump hasn't had to do anything yet. All he has to do is give some threats, and look how quick everybody's changing.
I just like the idea of Game of Thrones. All right, go on, bend the knee.
That's right.
Exactly.
Donald Trump is telling you how, yes, I can hurt your economy, but we need to work on this stuff, but it's going to start with me giving you the threat of what's going to happen so we can start a negotiation. Hurry up, bend the knee.
That's right. Get it done. Get it done. America, we're going to get back on track. That's what we've been asked for. That's what we voted for. And now you're starting to see it develop. Will there be mistakes? Absolutely. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect. But we're going to be here to document it where MSNBC will avoid it like the plague. CNN will avoid it. They will not tell you about the successes, only the failures. We're glad that you're here, glad that you're listening, and hope you'll share Extra 106.3 with others that might enjoy it. Whether the app, streaming at YouTube, traditional 106.3, 1230, streaming on extra1063.com. There's lots of ways to listen to the Morning Extra. A former Fox and CBS reporter tells you the actual value of Twitter, now called X, next on the Morning Extra.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's the camera. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Many Extra listeners are still furious with me because of the things that I said about Donald Trump. I still mean him. I don't like what he is, but I like what he does. And I'm sure I'm going to like what he does the first few days of the presidency, including shutting down the border. Maybe he can find some other ways to make sanctuary cities feel the pain of their idiocy. But at least we're safe from Kamala's horrible plans. Increase the corporate tax. What a fraud. Anti-price gouging laws, thereby displaying her ignorance of basic economics and the weakness that she would portray to the rest of the world.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Get ready for unfiltered conversations on The Janelle King Show, where we tackle the topics that you won't hear at your family gatherings, but they're absolutely crucial for a strong republic. Don't miss us live every Saturday at 3 p.m. and every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on Extra 106.3. But if you can't tune in, that's okay. You can catch new episodes every Tuesday on the Podcast Park or wherever you prefer to get your podcasts. Join us for these discussions, and I can't wait to meet you there.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? You know, that's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth if they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
I've been with EMC Security for over 10 years, and their service and support are always fantastic. There's nothing better than a business that understands that great service earns loyalty, unlike companies that rely on contracts. Plus, their prices are unbeatable, and they're always focused on solving any issues quickly.
It's time to experience long-term satisfaction and true customer care. EMC Security, exceeding customer expectations since 1998. Visit emcsecurity.com for a free quote.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Extra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the Podcast Park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
You may know that ATL Turf Co. has become a leader in artificial grass design and installation services, but you may not know that ATL Turf Co. is a large artificial grass distributor. We only sell U.S.-made, premium name brand turf at factory direct pricing below wholesale. And now we're open to the public with large inventories of lawn and landscape, putting green, athletic, and pet turf on sale. Plus, all remnants are on sale for only $1 per square foot, direct from Dalton to our warehouse in Kennesaw. Visit atlturfco.com to learn more. atlturfco.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, December 2nd. Jalen Mosley, 19, was arrested and charged with the murder of a 70-year-old man during a carjacking in Atlanta over the weekend. Mosley, who is from Houston, Texas, already had outstanding warrants for his arrest in Houston. Medics transported the 70-year-old victim to the hospital where he later died from his injuries. Mosley faces charges including murder, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, armed robbery, and hijacking a motor vehicle. He is currently being held in the Fulton County Jail. Cobb County police are investigating a double shooting at the Chroma Park Apartments in Austell. Authorities report that 2 victims were transported to the hospital, though their conditions are currently unknown. Police are still searching for a suspect, but have stated that they do not believe there is any danger to the public at this time. The story is still developing. And in sports, the Atlanta Falcons lost their 3rd consecutive game after a tough outing for quarterback Kirk Cousins, who threw 4 interceptions. The Los Angeles Chargers capitalized on the turnovers, securing a 17-13 win on Sunday. Despite the loss, the Falcons remain in first place in the NFC South with a 6-6 record. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Extra 106.3.
Here at Extra, we're pleased to support the Smyrna Public Safety Foundation's Shop with a Hero and their efforts to make the holiday special for local students and their families. Join us by being part of this whole thing. It's a great thing that the Smyrna Public Safety Foundation does. We're going to work to bring holiday spirit to local kids in need, and you can help with these students and their families by making a donation to the Shop with a Hero program. Select students will go on $250 shopping spree with local police, fire, or paramedics before enjoying a lunch here at Truist Park and a holiday meal for them with their families. If you'd like to make a difference, go to smyrnapsf.org to donate today. Again, that's smyrnapsf.org to make a donation to the Smyrna Public Safety Foundation's Shop with the Hero. Going to be so good. And the thing with that, it's my understanding that they have some necessities that they have to choose, right? They have to pick, shirts and pants and, all the essential stuff. And then whatever's left over, they can spend on whatever they want. So it's just a really cool thing. And I'm glad that we are able to promote it here at Extra 106.3. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. Los said it, I think, well over a year ago. It's when Elon bought Twitter and named it and renamed it X. He said, this is going to make the left lose their mind. We didn't even realize at the time how valuable this was. And now it's very, very clear. Catherine Herridge is a reporter that I've admired for a long time. I loved her when she was on Fox. I even kept up with her when she was on CBS, even though I hate that network. Hate such a strong word. I strongly dislike that network. I don't trust it at all. And she's come out many times and said they hindered her from being able to do the work that she wanted to and needed to do. But she, on Twitter, on X, really spelled out the value of Twitter, of X, to everyday Americans. It's not the mainstream media anymore. Like Elon Musk said, you are the media.
There's no question that X is the platform with the greatest reach. And when I say the greatest reach, it's not just the numbers, but it's the individuals that you can have this contact with, whether it's people who are very senior in politics, major business leaders. We were super thrilled when Elon Musk subscribed to our account. That was like, a huge compliment. It's not just the size of the audience, it's the diversity of the audience, and it's being able to reach out to a lot of different types of people, the powerful, the decision makers, but then also the everyday consumers of information. I feel like on X, the people who are following the account are a lot more engaged in the news. They're super consumers of information. You can't argue with the numbers. I had a conversation with our bureau chief in Washington, Mark Lima, and we were talking about interviews on X, and there was one in particular, I think it's like 35 or 40 million views, and he said to me, that's not a real number. And I said, well, neither's 4.5 on the evening news, but if I had to choose, I would take the 40 million views on X over the 4.5 million views on the evening news, because that's where the growth is. That's where sort of the diverse audience is. And I feel like this is the next chapter for media.
I expect that Twitter, now called X, will continue to grow and grow and grow on recommendations of people that have respect from the American people, like Catherine Herridge. Don't y'all?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Look, it's become the number one news source for a reason, guys, and we talked about it so many times. It is very diverse, and it's become so diverse. Yes, you have the paid agitators on the left.
Harry
but
Sissons.
Also, Huh?
Like the Harry Sissons.
Yes, the Harry Sissons and all those creeps, the Krasensteins who have disappeared all of a sudden. They're not on X anymore. The reality of this is that there were so many diverse people that I think it helped win Trump the election. Elon Musk did what we needed to do to get the free voice out there so that you can combat the mainstream media. They really did have a monopoly on news and were able to spin it to the way that they thought you needed to hear it. Now, all of a sudden, with community notes and the ability to put up article after article, it's easy for the American people to discern some of this information and now make a decision for themselves.
It was completely true. I brought it up on the show before. A lie goes around the world before a truth gets out of bed. And X was a really good example of how you could have this establishment message get out there, be completely unfettered, go unchecked, and if you did try and say anything, you were silenced or censored because the message was always going to be the most important part. Once Elon Musk took over, and now, what are the other side say? Oh, it's so mean there. No, it's dead honest is what it is. If you say something dumb, you cannot hide from it any longer. If you throw out something like, well, if you have Donald Trump in office, your avocados are going to cost $5. No, it's not really going to happen that way. And here's the math, and here's the reason why. When you say something dumb now on X, they've now fled over to Blue Sky, Pedophile X, in order to make sure they have their own echo chamber over there.
They do. But you're even seeing Democrats going, well, I was there and I left. There was a lot of pedophilia.
They got after me right away because you can't have a logical conversation there either.
Yeah, but that's the thing, Rhino, is that on X, you can have a differing point of view than the ones that we have, the ones that Elon Musk has. And that was his whole thing. When he and Tucker landed the deal to do Tucker's show on X, to be that be the exclusive platform, he tried to do the same thing with Don Lemon. Don Lemon wanted all these guarantees, and Elon's like, if it's successful, you'll be fine. I'm not going to guarantee you anything.
Right. It's on merit alone, and you've got to be able to deliver the truth, and that's the biggest problem for the left and why they don't like X. But in reality, guys, I'll ask you this. Where did you find out about Joe Biden pardoning Hunter? You didn't find it on mainstream media until this morning. I found it on X right when it happened. That's how quick the news is being filtered to the American people, to allow them to start breaking down what is true and what isn't, and everything happens on that platform. Everybody is going to turn to X. Joe Rogan and all of them have already started broadcasting most of theirs and getting their views there as well. Obviously, Spotify's huge for Rogan, but think about the numbers he did on X when he put it up there. This is the new mainstream media, and I don't think you're ever going to get away from it. It's brilliant what Elon Musk did to protect free speech.
So this is part of a support of Elon Musk, but I decided, all right, I'm paying for the blue check. And I did it as of last night. So, Joe, suck it. I'm going to be blue check now. So that's really important.
Welcome to the party, friend.
Thank you. Now, part of the reason I did it also is with the growth of this media and the direction that it's going and the interaction point, I decided I'm going to do all my NFL draft stuff on X this year. I'm going to post every video. I'm going to post every profile. I'm going to do all of it through there. Now, part of that is so there's going to be a lot of people that will be able to comment and say what they're going to be able to say. But that is where the action is. That's where the discussion point is.
Why would you not? Why would you not?
That's where it's moving.
I was literally digging through my emails, looking for an email that I'd had years ago, and I ran across my original blue check verification where they send you the email. It's like, we're verifying your account. And I was like, all right, that's cool. You know, it's like 2014 or whatever. And Lois and I were talking about it this morning. It was like, we have to support Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And you're exactly right. And Rhino had jumped on it. I don't know, a while back.
Yeah.
And so now I think we're all going to support Elon, and we encourage everybody else to, if you can. Because
can't buy a Tesla.
Yeah, no, I can't afford a Tesla by any means, or a Cybertruck.
These kids are expensive, man.
Although my son is dying for the Cybertruck. Man, he loves the Cybertruck. He was like, "Can I trade my Jeep on a Cybertruck?" I'm like, no.
Come on.
What are you talking about?
Dumpster.
Jeep's paid for. Cybertruck's expensive. No, you can't do it. I love the fact that you dig it. I love the fact you love it. I'm in. That's fine. I think it's cool too.
Yeah, get that MLB contract. Then you can buy yourself whatever you want, Jacob.
Yeah, let's not
but
get
the reality is this. I mean, the way he's transformed X is to be a mainstream media outlet, basically, because now Spaces is really awesome. I mean, you could sit and listen to anything on Spaces. You can find so many different, topics that range from politics to medicine to just fun. But the reality is now it's becoming a broadcasting platform. You're able to do more video. You're able to do a full show. Once you get that check mark, you get more and more. And that's what people are going to start doing. I like to watch a lot of different, broadcasts, which normally would have been on YouTube, but we know how Google, YouTube has really just tampered down any kind of conservative talk. X isn't doing that. You're able to do a lot more now with it.
And I'm planning on, when it comes to politics, I'll still do my politics. When it comes to my sports, I'll still do my sports. And I will integrate the YouTube channel with it. I will have what I'm going to have on X. I was looking at it like this. I'm already doing it. Yep. Why not just do it with somebody that's already told me, I respect the fact that we might have different views. I will support that with $44 billion. Okay, you get my $8.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's terrific, man. And I think for me, it's going to, be focused more on country music and politics. That'll be my crossover. And believe me, there's plenty of that there, surprisingly. And Rhino, he's been active doing YouTube and X, and he's been all over the place, and you can find all of us. We should go through our hashtags or through our handles, at Tug Cowart, at Extremism, and at Front Office Los. You can find us all on social media. JoJo closed up his Twitter account.
No, JoJo, come back.
Are you coming back?
What, do you go to Blue Sky?
Yeah.
You drove your Subaru over there?
Yeah, I drove my Subaru over to Blue Sky. No, I'm a socialist.
JoJo, the interesting part about it is that when he talked about, well, it just makes me mad. Like, JoJo, don't let them know where your goat lives. They can't get your goat.
That's right,
man. That's right.
Well, it's not just that. It makes me. It's designed to make me keep wanting to go to it. So it's just such a time suck.
But you got rid of all the social media, right?
I'm trying.
Yeah, you're paring down all
on
your
TikTok.
Yeah, I got rid of the Snapchats. I have a time thing for TikTok.
Yeah. So
my friends send me TikToks. It's all wicked though.
Okay.
Like the movie Wicked?
Yeah, none of it's politics.
Okay, all right. Well, no, there's nothing wrong with that.
It's for whatever you want.
Yeah, that's the beauty.
My daughter does Instagram, which is mostly just it's recruiting oriented with some other things. And then she has TikTok, and her TikTok is strictly for entertainment. And that entertainment, I think she had something like 400,000 views of a video of her screwing up a play. But she put it out there for the fun of it. I'm like, okay, I get it. One of them shows that you're really good. The other one goes, oh, no. It's
right.
like, okay.
But being able to laugh at yourself is valuable. But to your point, Joey, about being a time suck, Jacob got rid of TikTok altogether. My son Jacob completely deleted his TikTok account. He kept Twitter, he kept Instagram, and I think he's got Snapchat. But
I had gotten rid of TikTok, and then I got a girlfriend who's like, Joe, I need to send you TikToks. And I'm like, fine. So it's that.
Time suck is what it is. But that's all right, though. But that's the thing, though, is
the stuff we do.
Right, for the people you love. No kidding, man. Holy cow.
For the other thing.
Oh, well, but
that.
That was a veiled way of saying that.
Yeah. No sweatpant night.
Not just saying, like, Tug, you might be looking at Joe, and Joe's like, I ain't doing this for love.
Yeah, well, I'm trying.
Sometimes there's some things you do that aren't for love.
Some people calls it love. Some people call it love. That calls it love. Anyway, but the beauty though is that a lot of the tech censorship, Rhino, is taking a back seat, and people are like, no, I'm not going to be on a platform that is going to censor me. And Elon Musk was the first person that said, okay, we're not going to do that to you.
Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk has changed this, but there's a lot going on, and Donald Trump understands it because Donald Trump was one of those. One of the things that they're really good at is any kind of political opposition. These tech companies were able to censor. Well, that's not going to be a thing anymore. We've already seen Mark Zuckerberg, who paid so much money to make sure that Donald Trump wasn't going to be elected, now all of a sudden wants to go to Mar-a-Lago to hang out with him so that they can continue down their tech brand and keep it going because they realize they're losing to X, they're losing to everybody else. Brendan Carr, who has been somebody who I think a lot of Americans look to and say, hey, that's great. This guy really does want to make sure that free speech isn't under attack. And the ideas, free ideas, stopping the ideas of Americans is the most dangerous road we could walk down. And we were slowly walking down that. Any kind of thought process that was against the mainstream was all of a sudden that's bad, block them. Well, now we're going to be able to see it. I love the fact that Brendan Carr came out right away and said, we're not going to stop the ideas. Even if they're wrong, even if they're not right, we're going to allow people with their free ideas and their free speech to do it, and we're going to stop all these censorships by these big tech companies. I think it's huge.
I'm sorry that I'm years behind here on some of this stuff. So I told you, I started mixing in some Joe Rogan during the political season and watching some stuff. How did I not know about Protect Our Parks? Protect Our Parks is maybe the most fun podcast I've ever gotten a chance to listen to recently, when it's 4 comedians talking about anything. And they all brought it up. The reason why Trump was their guy, not because they were some hardcore rightists, but they all said free speech is the most important thing in our line of work. It is by far the most important.
For sure it is, but Trump's not that far right. When you look at what Donald Trump is.
But he also brought up tech censorship. He's like, we're going after it wherever it is, and that's enough.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra until 10. When we come back, Joe Rogan goes after a fellow comedian who is now on The View. We'll let you hear him in his own words, what he has to say about them. Next on Extra 106.3, Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10.
The road from now to Inauguration Day is bound to be littered with fake news and doomsday media, which is why Extra 106.3 is proud to continue as the conservative voice of Atlanta.
This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before.
The Morning Extra, The Kimmer Show, Neil Boritz, local and national decision makers are all coming to the table as we inch closer toward the new Trump administration. We're live every day on 106.3 FM, live video on YouTube, and streaming across Georgia on the Extra 106.3 app.
The end of the year is closing in, and with it, another tax year comes to an end. As you prepare to file your taxes, consider the efficiency of your tax strategy. Have you maximized your IRA and Roth contributions? Do you have an RMD strategy in place? Are you making moves now to maximize your future tax-free income? Not only is the year-end fast approaching, but the 2017 tax cuts sunset at the end of 2025, placing many Americans in a higher tax bracket. Don't just report your taxes, plan for them. Contact Master Plan Retirement Consultants now to create a retirement plan specifically designed for you. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation, where we can illustrate your retirement outlook and create a plan together for your future. Master Plan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Hey, Roswell. Looking for the perfect bite this football season? Head on over to Nucky's Hoagies Roswell Corners, where every sandwich is crafted with love by us.
The Sub Sisters,
Stacy
and Shannon. Whether you're looking to cater a football tailgate party or grabbing lunch to go or dining in, we've got delicious Nucky's menu items for you. When you bite into a Nucky's Hoagies, you'll taste the difference. The softest hoagie rolls ever, with the freshest ingredients that'll make your taste buds dance.
Make Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell Corners on Woodstock Road your new favorite sandwich spot.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, the Marketing Mad Men. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Mad Men every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Extra 106.3.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning eternity band, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer. Or maybe you're looking for that perfect engagement ring or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have the perfect gifts for the season, starting at around $500. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas, see the online seasonal gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Extra 106.3 is dedicated to being your conservative voice as things change in Washington. We bring you trusted local and national voices, Atlanta radio legends like Neil Bortz and the Kimmer, and the international resources of Fox News. The conservative voice of Atlanta, Extra 106.3 FM, and streaming across Georgia on the Extra 106.3 app.
I bought nothing on Black Friday. I don't expect I'll buy anything today, Cyber Monday. But I can't say the same thing for my wife because I think I've already seen like Amazon purchases this morning. I mean, she's getting after it. It's on Cyber Monday. Yeah, let's hope. But something tells me probably
I only want one thing, and it started on Friday, and maybe it continues today. I need military-grade, industrial-strength night vision goggles.
Jeez, what do you need those for?
Because I want to see some of the stuff out in the backyard at night.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got coyotes that run through and all sorts of stuff, and I'm out there.
True Prep, they can get them for you.
I know True Prep can. There's just this part of me that wants to do, because True Prep has like the nicest gear out there. Yeah. Sometimes you just want to have just a little bit of a cheap option, maybe last for like 6 months.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm not looking to, I'm not prepping with this one.
Yeah,
you know?
This is just for fun. I got you.
Funsies.
Do you also need a Chewbacca mask and a drum set?
If I need that, yes, I will go full Step Brothers on you. If I have night vision goggles, I will be doing my very... Oh, there was something else too, guys. So this was sent to me by Nick Cellini, and it was a T-shirt that just said the Buffalo Bill, and it was, obviously mocking like the Buffalo Bills, but it was actually Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs doing the tuck scene.
Oh, God.
And so...
I don't want that T-shirt.
So I kind of want that T-shirt now.
That's so gross.
I think you should get it.
So gross. I don't want anything to do with that.
That and the shirt that also made me go, okay, I might need that. There's a shirt that I saw that just said Gay Dracula.
Yeah.
Which seems very strange, and I kind of want it. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Dracula is gay Dracula?
Yeah. Hysterical. I love it. That one I'm down with.
It made you laugh.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
It's the whole idea of, gay Dracula.
But the Buffalo Bill one, oh my God, that's so gross. I can't even watch that movie.
Rubs the lotion on its skin, else it gets the hose again.
Thank you, Joe.
So gross.
All I want's a Bobcat and Home Depot gift card, so if anybody's out there.
Now, not the actual animal. He wants the equipment.
Yeah, the big equipment.
Somebody's going to show up here with I brought you a cat.
Let me tell you, you can get them around here. Holy cow. We had this down the holler at our house in the back. We had an 8-point buck laying down. This son of a gun was huge. I mean, like any hunter would have loved to have him as a trophy on the wall.
And what'd you do, boy from Dalton?
Dude, I went down there and fed him some corn.
Oh,
come on.
I did.
Oh, you're fattening them up.
Yeah,
getting them ready for the harvest.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
I went and bought at Tractor Supply Company. I went and bought a big old thing of
corn?
Deer corn,
Okay,
just
cool.
to put out there. But dude, we have about 10 that live down the holler behind our house, and so we just like looking at. My wife and I are turning so old. We love looking at birds and raccoons and squirrels and like you're talking about
night vision.
Absolutely, and would love to get some NVGs to be able to peek that stuff out later in the evening, or like Rhino has those trail cams around.
Yes,
you had them at the Hiawassee house, right? Which you could see.
Yep.
Like because you had the bear. Remember the bear? I'm sure you remember it, but I don't know if everybody else does. Rhino at one point had a bear that would attack.
His feeders.
Yeah, it goes after his bird feeders and bird houses. And
this
he's
going to come back probably around March.
Yeah, he could just climb up there and just knock it all down and then eat everything.
Rhino would show up to work like on every weekend basis. Damn bear got more of my feeders.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, I've positioned the cameras now where I hopefully will catch a lot of those bears. And right now I'm getting a lot of cats, small cats, but possums and all sorts of different animals. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, right. Have to zoom in a little bit.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and
I think it's great. What's that?
They're good to eat.
They're good, for sure. Man, I had the best deer sausage I've ever had in my whole life in Aiken, South Carolina. We were driving over to Charleston, and we stopped at this little hole in the wall. It was a frame shop with a store, a restaurant inside. And sure enough, there's some old timers sitting there in some overalls, just talking about, college football and the South Carolina Clemson game and all that. And they're like, hey, man, because I'd order a hot dog. And they're like, because I'd talked to them for a while before we sat down. They're like, you like deer or venison? I was like, heck yeah, I do. And they're like, try this. It's the best you'll ever have. And my God, they were right. It is and was. It was fantastic.
Typically, that's how like the abduction part of the movie starts.
No, see, Dad.
Like, hey,
that's only in.
Do you like venison?
Yeah.
Would you try this?
That's only when you hear dueling banjos playing.
I'm feeling tired.
You're in a well and they're dropping venison to you.
I see. Yeah. When you start hearing dueling banjos, you're like, maybe I should get out of here. Yeah, because that'll get you in trouble. But anyway.
Here, eat this, Tug. He starts rubbing at his chest.
No.
Real seductively.
No, it was just three old timers. They were great, man. God, I love people like that. Joe Rogan, you were telling me about a new podcast you've been listening to with Joe Rogan.
It's not new. That's the problem.
Well, but new to me.
New to me.
Yeah, right. New to us.
Because I don't listen to whenever Joe Rogan has a comedian on, 10 times out of 11, I don't listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got into the Protect Our Parks, which was the newest one, episode 13, where it's him, it's Ari Tellem, it's Shane Gillis, and they're just talking about the topics of the day. One of them that came up was Joy Behar, and the audio we played from about a week and a half ago on the radio show, where she went after Joe Rogan and talked about how he believes in dragons. Now, as Rhino had pointed out, as the audio points out, he had a person, and they were talking about how when you had explorers going around the world, and let's say, for instance, they ended up in the Amazon and one of their buddies got eaten by a 16-foot crocodile, you might think that is a dragon. You might freak out about that. And they talked about that in human history, we've made mistakes of identifying animals. Joy Behar used that to try and disparage what Joe Rogan was bringing up on his podcast. So take a listen. This is from Protect Our Parks, episode 13, Joe Rogan and crew. And here's him going back at Joy Behar.
Dragon lover. Joy Behar was trying to say that I believe in dragons.
Wait, what is this? I just heard about
it. I checked it. And the lady goes, did you double check this? She goes, I checked it. He believes in dragons.
Should be like
you think they lived along
Sasquatch.
Wait, it was from a wildlife biologist who came on my podcast. It was from Forrest Gallant.
So you're taking Joey Behar, whatever her name is, as a news source.
Did you have no? This is the most important part.
I don't know.
Hey, this is the most important part. This is right after she was saying, we are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. So she by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by ABC News, and then making the stupidest statement. You didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to what the wildlife biologist, and that's only a part of what he said.
I can't
the
believe
other part of what he said was
there
was something before that where he was explaining encounters with giant reptiles. And there's also, listen,
it doesn't make sense to me that a middle-aged woman could be dumb.
When you're worried about losing your job and you're worried about podcasts taking over and who's the source of news, and we said Donald Trump is Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us and he won, and this is and Joe Rogan believes in dragons.
You can't say I'm backed by ABC News and then say Joe Rogan believes in dragons as your statement of truth and fact.
It's ridiculous, Rhino.
I love it. I think it's brilliant that Joe Rogan has done what he's done. And I like that he separated what he's doing with the Joe Rogan experience, which is more of a serious, to this, where I think you could pretty much tell they're smoking a lot of weed in this one.
There's so much drinking going on.
But it's surprising to me, though, because I didn't think that Shane Gillis would be a Trump voter. And then it turns out
he talked about it during this one and then the previous episode, because again, I had some time on the road between going back in Alabama. He talked about his issue was free speech, and he also talked about the weird vibes he got from Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And so those couple things, when you're as a professional, your job is to push the boundaries, say what you're going to say, and not worry about being attacked by the government or being censored, because your videos, whether it's on Netflix or on YouTube, that's what gets people to buy tickets. You don't want to be censored.
No, you can't be, and it damages your career. I mean, it's a smart thing to do. He was smart and wise in that way, Rhino.
Yeah, I think it's funny how, too, there's a division now between Hollywood and comedians, because you saw them attack Dave Chappelle. You see them attack Ricky Gervais. You see them attacking every single comedian, including Joe Rogan. And they're all standing up saying, hey, guys, we're just pointing out the truth and laughing at it. And if you can't handle it, too bad. We don't care anymore. And these are the ones who I think really brought in that frat boy and the youth group to say, we still want to laugh. I mean, it's still funny to us, and we could point it out, the absurdity of the Democrats, and that's why I think a lot of these comedians are coming to the other side.
Joy Behar going the direction she did. I checked it. He believes in dragons.
I checked
Do you realize that for that common dude,
How do you check that?
We talked about how I think it's 80% of his audience is men, and it's like 15 to 35. This is that audience, that group that you're looking for that is going to help you win elections moving forward. And they're the ones that are laughing at Joy Behar saying, you old bag, you don't understand what you're talking about.
She didn't want a legal note to read.
No, that's exactly right.
It turns out that Joe Rogan does not believe in dragons.
Could you imagine
Let's go to break.
That's right. And it has to be Whoopi that sets it up. You've got something to read.
You have something to read here.
That's
Whoopi's like, hands off. I've done this.
Dude, absolutely right. And
so far behind on I would see these episodes and go, what do I want to see 4 comedians just talking about parks?
Yeah, well.
No, I was
Turns
wrong.
out.
I was wrong.
They weren't just talking about parks, talking about all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I may have to give it a listen too, man. That's awesome. Remember when Hillary Clinton sounded like Trump? We'll refresh your memory if you don't. Next, after a Neil Bortz report to Fox News update, this is the Morning Extra.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
I was sitting here at my studio trying to come up with some ideas for a commentary when suddenly I picked up a disc. Bortz Foreign, it said. So what the heck, I'll use it for the commentary. It happened back in the 96 Olympics in Atlanta. I wanted to record some messages for our Olympics visitors. So I got people who were fluent in foreign languages to read some messages that I wrote. That's what's on this disc. I'll just tell you what I did. Brazil, for instance, had somebody speak in Portuguese, and they said something like, the Neil Bortz Show would like to welcome you to the 96 Olympic Games. And we would especially like to thank you for sending some of your beautiful Brazilian women here to Atlanta for us to gaze at in wonder. It's a real pity they just don't age all that well. And then for the French, my little welcome thing said, in French, of course, we would like to welcome our visitors to France for the 100th Centennial Olympic Summer Games. Due to the excessive heat and humidity here in Atlanta, it would be greatly appreciated if you would wear deodorant while you're visiting. And in Spanish, I have time for that one. Neil Bortz Show would like to welcome our visitors from Mexico to the 1996 Olympic Games. We're sorry that your team really sucks, but after all, any Mexican who can run, swim, or jump has already come into this country many years ago. Frankly, I forget what the Russian and Italian messages said, but that's okay because I had already done enough damage. In this day and age, I wonder if we could get away with that. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
This is Atlanta's new home for Fox News, Extra 106.3 FM.
Compact Outside, the all-electric EQB 250 SUV is big on space, style, and smart ideas. With available seating for 7, a digital voice assistant, and MB navigation with electric intelligence, the EQB is born from a forward-thinking family and built for yours. Experience the all-electric 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQB 250 SUV today and lease one for just $399 per month for 36 months with $48.93 due at signing. Exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models. And visit today to see how to qualify. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta Sandy Springs through December 2nd, 2024. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
Do not let your sons and daughters join the military until Trump is able to get in there and clean out the riffraff.
I'll tell you.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
It's a miscarriage of justice. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what President-elect Trump is calling President Biden pardoning son Hunter. Posting on Truth Social, it's an abuse. Yet, the president used the same phrase defending the pardon.
President Biden says it's clear his son Hunter was treated different during federal prosecutions for a gun charge and tax offenses, arguing raw politics infected the process and led to a miscarriage of justice. The White House and the president repeatedly said a pardon for his son was not being considered following convictions in Delaware and California federal courts. Hunter Biden was scheduled to be sentenced this month and faced the possibility of jail time.
That's Fox's Jared Halper. Now, President Biden's in Africa visiting Angola, leaving right after issuing that pardon that goes beyond the gun and tax cases. It also covers any crime Hunter Biden might have committed in the last 10 years. Congressman Corey Mills tells Fox.
He's continued to try and go ahead and bail his son out instead of doing what's right, which is allowing the scale of justice to actually rule.
House Republicans have been investigating Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings and if the president was involved. Israel's military confirmed this morning one of its soldiers held hostage in Gaza, who is also an American, is dead. Adding Omer Nuetra was actually killed in the October 7th terror attack last year, and Hamas took his body along with hundreds of hostages. It says humanitarian aid for Gaza has been suspended.
The biggest UN agency providing aid to Palestinians says the most important entry point between Israel and Gaza just isn't safe. UNRWA reports 2 recent convoys were looted by armed gangs near the Kerem Shalom crossing. It's calling on Israel to maintain order.
As Fox's Jonathan Savage, it's Cyber Monday. A lot of Americans will shop while they work.
Shoppers are searching for big deals and deep discounts today. And according to Adobe Analytics, consumers are expected to spend a record $13.2 billion, making it the year's biggest shopping day for e-commerce.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brent Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home in Florida. Now, while on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brent's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. Brent became a T4 paraplegic. Tunnel to Towers built him a specially adapted smart home that allows severely injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. We hope you'll donate $11 a month so this great work can continue. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Extra 106.3 and Fox are red. CNN and CBS are blue. If you want conservative news and talk, we have just the app for you. Search for the Extra app wherever you download apps.
It's Cyber Monday, and front office Lowe's is over there spending dollar bills. Ooh. I look over there, and I mean, all I see is Visa and Confirm, and
I'm spending like $3.
He is setting up a program for all the parents to be able to watch volleyball.
Yeah, that's
for their A5 team.
We're 13 days out from the start of the season, so trying to button up a couple things here and there.
Dude, we're only 12 days out from college football bowl games starting. How about that?
It's a good time of year.
Dude, this is a great time of year. I hate the weather. It is absolutely freezing. Rhino is from the North Carolina studio this morning, but me and Lowe's here in the studio in Dickey Broadcasting at the Battery Atlanta, next to Truist Park, home of your Atlanta Braves. Rhino, we are freezing to death. It is like,
yeah, it's cold.
It is freaking freezing in here. I don't think they've ever turned on the air, the heating this morning. I don't think it's ever turned on.
Trying to save money for a free agent.
I guess so.
That's right. Do something. Make a big signing around here.
That's right. I think you nailed it. They're like, boys, we're going to need you to keep the heat off. We got to pay the bills. Okay, y'all bring an extra coat. Put on an extra layer. I've never been so cold in my entire life as I was Friday night sitting in Sanford Stadium cheering on the Dogs.
But what a game.
But what a game it was. It was unbelievable. You know, for 3.5 quarters, pretty much, 3.5 quarters, Georgia has got their tails kicked, pushed up and down the field, and Georgia Tech did whatever they wanted to do. And then Georgia flipped the switch. I've never seen anything quite like it. And it was completely different game. Now, I wasn't there for all the overtimes. I left. I was violently shaking. I was so cold. We left with about 4 minutes left.
Rhino, this is
in the
privilege, man.
No, I've never been so cold in my life. I was shaking so violently that my son thought I was having some sort of health scare.
He should have after you left.
He was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Dude, we got to go, man. I can't sit here. I physically cannot sit here." I was wearing 3 layers on top, 2 layers on bottom, 2 pairs of socks, wearing boots. I was dressed as warm as you could possibly dress, and I mean, I was physically shaking like I was having convulsions. So,
and what overtime did you make it to?
No, we didn't. We left about 4 minutes.
When they went down by 14, which, by the way, I was watching with my in-laws. My father-in-law, it's getting more and more challenging to watch football with him because he's instant analysis guy in terms of, you know, and when they scored, and it was with 5:24 left, when Georgia Tech scored to go up by 14, that's it. It's over. It's done. I'm like, it's college football. They score quick. You've got an opportunity. Yeah. So by the time we got to, I don't know, maybe like the 3rd or 4th overtime, I'm tapping my wife and going, so does Georgia not care to win this game? Because that was the initial thing. Georgia Tech wants it more. No. What happens is $1 million coordinators get to go head-to-head, and Buster Faulkner for Georgia Tech was beating the pants off of what was going on with Georgia for a while.
That's exactly right, man. It was amazing, and we got home. We made it home before the game was over. It was an hour, because it's an hour and 15 minutes. We physically made it home before the game was over. I mean, as
this
we're
is
pulling
not something
into,
you should be bragging about.
I'm not proud of it. I was so cold.
You missed an epic moment in college football history, the second longest game in the history of the sport.
I can't help it, Joey. What?
Take the L.
No, I got it, dude. I'm
so
trying
sad.
to throw myself at the mercy of the court. I'm not bragging about this. I'm not proud of it. I was freezing.
You know what this sounds like to me, Rhino?
I'm never going to another cold game again, ever.
And Rhino, I want to see if you agree with this. This sounds like somebody who got a free ticket.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't leave games.
Did not
care.
We
Why are you winking?
And then here on top of that, parking was $150. $150 to park.
Oh, we're not leaving. We're sleeping there that night.
$150.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't care. I did not care. I was so cold. I was like, anything. I do not want to be here any longer.
And Jacob just let you.
Because he knew I was freezing to death.
Oh man,
he was like, "Yeah, we should go, man."
My dad would be dead.
Yeah. I was
gonna go back to school and tell him how much of a wimp his dad is.
I'm fine with that.
I can't believe we missed this game.
I'm just fine with it. I am just fine with it because I was so miserable.
Keith on YouTube says Tug can never have his man card back now.
Man, it's unfortunate.
But it's the truth, y'all. I was so cold. Y'all, when I tell you I get cold and I hate being cold, I hate being cold. I'm just not cut out for it. I will never, ever, ever. I told Jacob again, I would never go to another cold game again, just for that reason alone. I mean, violently shaking and trembling. It was crazy. But
Doug's the only one trying to get across the border the other way to get south.
I know. It's so cold. Let me in.
I should have been more in the equator, y'all. I love it. When I was in the Navy and we'd be down there, a couple 100 miles from the equator, and it was 100 degrees and 100% humidity. Like, people were cutting their dungarees into shorts. That's the only time the Navy would allow you to do that, where you could cut your dungaree pants into shorts because it's so hot. I left my dungaree pants on, and I was wearing long sleeves. I was so happy. I never was so happy my whole life. So warm,
so gross,
perfect.
The fact that you indulge in having swamp butt and you like it.
But I don't. Yeah. I'm not a sweater though. That's the thing. I don't sweat a lot. As a human, I don't sweat a lot, and so yeah, it's no swamp butt for me. It is not.
Save that.
Yeah, save that. No swamp butt for me.
Do I need to say it so you can get a clear
you're good. You're good. You did it right in character.
8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. I will say this because I have nothing but love for Haynes King. That's one tough That's one tough player.
Yeah,
maybe
Georgia
the
Tech's
toughest player.
That was really impressive
in all of college football. And my son's best friend is a quarterback on Georgia Tech squad. He came to our house Saturday night. And I asked him, I was like, what was it like? Because he was the signaler for the defense.
Yeah.
As a quarterback signaling the defense. And he said, being in Sanford Stadium is the coolest place I've ever been in my entire life. He was like, and he got to travel to Virginia Tech. He's been to a whole, obviously, being on the Tech squad.
He go to Ireland?
He did. He went to Ireland, said it was amazing. He was like, I've never seen anything like the environment at Sanford Stadium. And so it's super cool.
You remember the fifth overtime?
And I told him no. I was like, no, I don't.
Now we know how you got your tickets, too.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was amazing. And I asked him about what was the locker room like afterwards. And he was just like, it was somber. He was just like, it was just tough. Felt bad for the guys. They'd worked so hard. And because I was blown away by the embrace after the game. And I think, Los, you tweeted about it too. 38-second long embrace between what you would think would be bitter enemies, but nothing but respect between Kirby Smart and Brent Key, who I have full respect for.
Considering they played against one another.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s.
Absolutely.
And to see, these are two guys these are their alma mater. So this is important to both of them. And to see them embrace the way they did, recognizing what they had both just witnessed and gone through, I thought that was a really cool moment.
It was amazing. Especially
it was nice, especially since, this weekend was crazy for college football. We saw the Michigan-Ohio State fight. Florida decided they're going to be a little classless and plant a flag in the middle of FSU's logo and a fight there. And then, the really scary situation with Trevor Lawrence this weekend in the NFL. Wow. I thought the Georgia Tech embrace and Kirby Smart and Brent Key both looking like pure professionals. I thought it was a wonderful thing to see.
And now you get Texas coming to Atlanta, and they're going to play Georgia in the SEC championship game. This is obviously very big for our community, the amount of money, the amount of people that come through here. And credit to Steve Sarkisian, the head coach of Texas. When his players wanted to go on the A&M logo after the game, he's like, no, we're not doing that, guys. He's get back in the locker room. And so, there were really some good moments of sportsmanship to mix in with some moments where you went, that's not supposed to be the way it is. Not even between rivals, just not supposed to be that way.
But I don't have a problem with the planting the flag thing. I really don't.
No, it's just if you recognize what it's going to cause.
Yeah, right. I'm not saying it should happen, but I'm just saying I just don't have a problem with it ideally.
When Oklahoma, years ago with Baker Mayfield, went up to Ohio State and beat them, and he put the flag there, you know what Ohio State did? Cool, you beat us, and they walked off the field.
Yeah.
All right, that was different for some of these teams where, if you don't like it, don't get beat at home.
That's exactly what I say. And Go Virgin River, our board op just said it's cliche at this point as far as a tradition, but it comes and goes. It comes in waves. And so it's just back right now. I do expect, don't y'all expect, and I swear we'll change the topic after this, don't y'all expect at some point either the conferences or the NCAA, someone will just ban the practice and you'll get in trouble if you do it, and that'll kind of put an end to it to begin with?
Yeah, like rushing the field.
Yeah. It's worked so well.
Here's your $250,000.
That's right. Exactly. Hillary Clinton sounded like Donald Trump sounds today. Do you remember Hillary Clinton talking the way Donald Trump talks? If you don't, let us refresh your memory.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
Wait in line. You have to go back if you're breaking the law. You have to pay all of your debt to society. And then we'll think about letting you stay or working out some sort of thing. But to say, here's the kicker, and I think this is important. I think learning English is a very important thing to do. But to hear a Democrat say someone needs to learn English, would any Democrat, Rhino, say that today?
No, you'd be a racist dictator if you were to say things like that today. It would be horrible. But the reality is this. Assimilation is good.
Absolutely
Being a part of your community is good. And she recognized that. Now, if somebody politically opposing her says that, of course she's going to go on a rampage calling them racist, calling them all the names that they did every time that Trump said, we don't want criminals in here taking advantage of our women or children or anybody else for that matter. Now, all of a sudden, it's a problem. But when Hillary, Bill, when Barack Obama said similar things, it was, yeah, we agree.
Do you happen to be in a good work environment? Because I would say like Dickey Broadcasting.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
I have now, looking at the numbers, I'm like, wow, we're going to do year 14 here pretty soon. Like, this is going to be a place that I hope to spend like 20 some years. It is a great environment in terms of the atmosphere, and it makes you want to know more about why it is and how do you become more a part of it. That is not unlike the assimilation we're asking for in this country. The people that want to be here desperately, that want to be American citizens, they will spend the money, they will pass the classes, they will learn everything they need to about this country because they want to be part of it. They want to be able to wear that red, white, and blue and say, I'm part of this American fabric. Understanding there are people here that don't have any interest in that.
Yes. That's correct.
And that is really the difference. That is what Hillary is saying, the same things Donald Trump is. There are people that are looking to take advantage of our ability to take care of people and provide opportunity, but they don't want to be part of our society. The ones that do, those are the ones we need to be talking about.
Absolutely. The best and the brightest. Those are the people that we want here. The ones that contribute to society. The ones that have the desire to be an American. And I've always I've used that twice this morning. I've always strongly disliked the whole, you're European American, you're African American, you're Irish American, you're Italian American. I've never liked that. I've always liked, you're an American, because that is the binding, the thing that binds us all together, because that's who we are. And I like that. I want to see that more. And I feel like when people assimilate, that's what they become, is Americans.
Yeah, we're a nation of immigrants, not a nation of illegals. There's a big difference between that. We open our arms to people who want to come here and want to actually help benefit the United States, become a part of the United States. And I think a lot of the immigrants that have come here the right way realize that, and realize that they're in the most diverse and beautiful country in the world. We don't want the ones that don't, that want to tear this down, the ones that we continue to accept that shouldn't be here in the first place. It's very easy, and I think a lot of Democrats agree. We need to bring in good people that benefit the rest of the country as well. And we need to treat those people in a way that we respect them, because we do. See, Democrats are on the other side, though. What is their one thing? Oh, well, who's going to pick your strawberries? Who's going to get your avocados? Now they're going to cost more money. It's so disgusting the way Democrats are treating people who are trying to come across here for a better life, rather than the ones that they're treating really well that are actually criminals.
There's an 1865 vibe to that. Whenever you get well, look what it's going to cost you. It's going to be more to, and then I want to say, pick cotton.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
I mean, these are the same people saying the same things from the same party. Here's their argument of this. So just when it's going to take more to get your grapes and your avocados, just say, hold on a second, I would like for you to sub in pick cotton, and then see how you feel about that. See where your angle is.
It just, that stuff should make you mad. It should drive you crazy. And if you're not a nation of laws, you're not a nation. It's pretty simple.
We should not be promoting the idea of a permanent underclass, not in this country. And that is what they're signaling for. That is what they're talking about. And listen, I would love if everybody here wanted to be an American citizen. That is not the case.
No, it's not.
And it's just how it's going to be. And so if you start talking about the importance of citizenship, and that is what the other side has tried to downplay, the common American out there recognizes citizenship is actually pretty good. We shouldn't just be throwing it around like it's no big deal.
There is value, and we need to promote that value. We need to be okay with people saying, yes, being an American citizen is a privilege. It is a privilege. And everybody that has that citizenship is privileged in the world. And we're very proud of it. And we shouldn't be ashamed of it. There is a lot of people that have fought and died for that privilege, for you, and for people who come here legally that want to live the same way we do. And we should embrace those folks. And then we should get the other folks out and never welcome them back. That's the way I look at it. It's the way I see it. And I'm hoping that's ultimately what will happen. And I think there are going to be Democrats, Rhino, that are going to jump on board with this. I mean, we talked about the Kathy Hochul thing, the governor of New York. We talked about that a little bit earlier. She's already on board.
Yeah, I think everybody else, like Gavin Newsom, who's saying we're not going to cooperate, they're going to cooperate because they realize deep down inside they're going to play both sides, and they're going to pretend that they care about others that are coming here when they realize we got to get rid of a lot of these bad people. They're a drain on our system. When you look at Illinois, they are going to look and say, hey, we need to have our community centers back for our citizens, and even for the ones that are trying to go for citizenship. We're allowing work visas. Come over here. You want to work? You want to work hard? It doesn't mean you're going to be in a field, but you could be working in a restaurant, construction, other things that you have talent for, and we welcome you. But what we don't welcome are criminals. It's that easy. The fact that they decided that they're going to stop DNA testing to make sure that any of these people who are coming across are clean and good citizens rather than criminals, that's sickening what the Democrats have done and infiltrated this country. And I'm glad that we're starting to look at the border and look at it in a serious way, and most Americans, over 80%, agree that we need to get rid of all these criminals. It's that easy. It's not a bad thing to say, hey, we want to welcome people who want to be a part of this society.
Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation a little bit because Mexico's already helping Donald Trump with the border. We'll do that. We got Rhino with the headlines. It's all next. Glad that you're here on Extra 106.3 in the Morning Extra.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Pete, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
It seems somebody done us all a favor by producing a list of all of the celebrities that promised they would leave America if Trump won. You want to hear it? I'll read fast. Adam Baldwin, Whoopi Goldberg, John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, Rob Reiner, Barbara Streisand, Cher, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Megan Rapinoe, Tom Hanks, Amy Schumer, AOC, Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift, Bill Gates, Jane Fonda, Madonna, Mark Ruffalo, Kim Kardashian, Bruce Springsteen, George Clooney, Hunter Biden, Oprah, Robert De Niro, Samuel L. Jackson, Miley Cyrus, Travis Kelce, Rashida Tlaib, Stormy Daniels, Anthony Fauci, George Soros, Eminem, Ellen DeGeneres, Sean Penn, Sharon Stone, Ashley Judd, Tommy Lee, Bryan Cranston, and Billy Joe Armstrong. Who dat?
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
We are winding down 2024. Central Heating and Air Conditioning would like to thank you for trusting them with your heating and air conditioning and your home performance needs all year long. Your home, your safe space. The time that you spend with your family can be made safer with Central Heating and Air Conditioning. They have systems in place to include healthy, fresh, clean, allergen-free air with proper ventilation. Carrier products, the best in the business, working with the best in the business at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. And you can save up to $2,000 on a new Carrier system if you need it. Maybe you're not to that point. Maybe you don't need a new system. Maybe you just need repairs to the system that you have. They work on every brand, not just Carrier. Whatever brand you have, they can work on it. They can fix it. Now, if you're in a position where everything's running along pretty nicely, but it's like a car, man, you just need to maintain it, they can do a maintenance agreement, come out twice a year, tune up your equipment so it runs to optimal performance. How do you do this? You call 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. It's 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com.
Hey there, I'm Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly, Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine, where you'll find familiar faces, local voices, and community businesses like Vera Whole Health.
Hi, I'm Reggie. We at Vera Whole Health aren't your average primary care provider. We offer behavioral health clinicians, health coaches, nurses, and registered dietitians. Our staff coordinates each patient's individualized needs through a highly care team of providers. Also, we are so thrilled to offer services to Blue Cross and Blue Shield members in Georgia and are now accepting new patients. As a matter of fact, you can even get same-day or next-day appointments as well as virtual care options for easy convenience. We'd love to meet you. Reach out to heyvera.health/anthem or just call 404-850-0045 to schedule today.
Thanks, Reggie. All in one care, all in one place. Sounds great to me. We love our advertising partners, and remember, our town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
Share all the holiday joy this season with the convenient shipping and enhanced network of the United States Postal Service. Visit USPS.com/holiday ride.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? You know, that's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlantis Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth if they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, December 2nd. Jalen Mosley, 19, was arrested and charged with the murder of a 70-year-old man during a carjacking in Atlanta over the weekend. Mosley, who is from Houston, Texas, already had outstanding warrants for his arrest in Houston. Medics transported the 70-year-old victim to the hospital where he later died from his injuries. Mosley faces charges including murder, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, armed robbery, and hijacking a motor vehicle. He is currently being held in the Fulton County Jail. Cobb County police are investigating a double shooting at the Chroma Park Apartments in Austell. Authorities report that 2 victims were transported to the hospital, though their conditions are currently unknown. Police are still searching for a suspect, but have stated that they do not believe there is any danger to the public at this time. The story is still developing. And in sports, the Atlanta Falcons lost their 3rd consecutive game after a tough outing for quarterback Kirk Cousins, who threw 4 interceptions. The Los Angeles Chargers capitalized on the turnovers, securing a 17-13 win on Sunday. Despite the loss, the Falcons remain in first place in the NFC South with a 6-6 record. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Xtra 106.3.
We had a caller just a minute ago that called and said he disagreed with us on our take on immigration in the United States of America, and unfortunately we lost him. His name was David, so David, if you're listening, please call back.
Always welcome, David.
Captain Goey Virgin River said he disagreed with us on the stance that people that came across the border should be deported because they broke the law. And I said that from the get-go. Like anybody that's broken the law, you should be deported. I agree with that 100%. What I think we've all said is there are layers to getting to that point. You got to start with the criminals, the 1,000 gang members in every major city in the United States. That's just where it begins.
Well, I was going to say, Rhino, when you look at what has gone on, if you just look at some of the numbers, Donald Trump didn't deport anywhere near as many people as Bill Clinton or Barack Obama did. And now you're looking to actually chase those numbers and maybe do 10 million. No, I don't think you're going to have a really hard time doing Clinton numbers. That was 13 million.
Yeah, it's going to be a little tough. But then again, we've had a lot more across this border under the Biden-Harris administration than any other time in history. But I agree. I mean, if you broke the law, no one's above the law, correct? So we need to go ahead and look at that. But I like what Hillary Clinton said. Some of them that have come here that may be doing, good work or just, trying to get that American dream, that did it in the legal way. Even if they came over here illegally at one point, you're going to pay a hefty fine. Maybe we start finding people. Maybe there's another way to do it. But you start with the criminals and you get rid of them. But I agree. Anybody who came here illegally, you are not above the law. You're going to go back and you're going to do it the right way. And if you don't do it the right way again, you're never going to come back into this country again.
404-741-1230. David is back. David, there he is. Kennesaw, what's up, man?
What's up, guys?
Hey, David, how you doing?
First off, I want to say I hope everybody had a Thanksgiving.
We did.
Had a lot to be thankful for.
Yes, sir. Amen to that.
But my point is about this whole illegal immigration thing. I've been around longer than you guys, and we have, I don't want to say turn the other cheek, but I will say we've looked the other way for way too long, and we have to start calling it what it is. These people are breaking the law. I don't care how nice they seem.
That's right.
And I don't care if they want it, but they still broke the law. And this country We allow 1 million people a year to legally immigrate, more than any other country in the world. And it's a spit in the face to the people who are spending the resources, the money, the lawyers, and the time that actually want to be Americans.
That's right.
And I get so sick of this argument. Well, who's going to pick this and who's going to pick that? Every year we give out work visas for people who do that kind of work, and then they leave and go back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
David, I appreciate the call. Yeah, and David, if you're listening to this radio station, you know that's what we've echoed throughout the entirety of this discussion. What we have to be cognizant of, and this is the area that I've been telling everybody, get ready. When you have the first handful of times where there are mass demonstrations over us getting rid of people, when they show, here comes the bus, and it's taking all these people who have been sitting on their asses in a hotel room that we have been paying for the last several months, and we say, okay, we're sending them back somewhere. We don't know where. We may not even tell you. When that starts the demonstrations and that starts the anger in the media of, oh, Trump and the administration is a modern-day Gestapo. These are horrible people. You have to have that same resolve as you just had on this phone call, because that's what's going to happen.
It will.
Yeah, I think it's very important because, again, I think there needs to be transparency throughout this of who's coming across the border and what they're getting. Once you start cutting off the free paydays, once you stop getting $900 gift cards that you can use anytime you want, or free housing or free food or free medical care, watch as they start to leave. Watch as they start to turn back. They're here for one reason only, a lot of those people, and that's the free handouts. Stop them right away, and they won't come at all. The reality is people who really want to come here for a better life will come here the right way. If it's that important to them, then make them stand by their convictions and do it the correct way. We're more than welcoming to 1 million people a year to come over here and start working and picking up jobs that they want to do. It's not that hard. And you know what? We can't feel bad for people who broke the law.
I'll tell you, for me, even after a while, even 1 million is going to be too many at some point. Because think about what's happening, right? We're already seeing... For those people that say, hey, these people are just coming here for work, we're already seeing automation take jobs away from anybody and everybody. Like in the port workers, right? Those are jobs that you think you would do with your hands. They're automating. What do you think those port workers are striking for? The picking of vegetables and those things are going to be automated. Everything is going to be automated. Our need for a workforce is going to continue to shrink in the United States of America and around the world. So that argument doesn't work with me anymore, because I think at 1 million, that's going to be too many at some point.
Well, there's an expansion of expertise that goes on. And we talk about, if you want to learn a trade, you're going to be in a pretty good place. College ain't for everybody. You want to learn a trade. You want to learn how to repair some of these new robotics and new things that we're going to be dealing with. You want to learn how to code. That's who we're talking about having come in here, because those jobs that are at the lower end, they are going to start basically melting away. That's what's going to happen. And I think this is for me, I keep thinking about when we get to the point of being honest about what is going on in this country, which is when you look at the Obama years, yes, he was deporting quite a bit of people. Basically, you're not allowed in here. At the same time, we didn't have an expansion of the economy that allowed for those people to come in. That's why those numbers fell off. We then had the same stagnant economy that was going on. As much as they want to tell you after COVID, no, 30-year inflation, 40-year inflation is a problem. And yet they opened up the borders wide open and said, come on in here. It was a different level of amount of people that rolled in here than we've ever seen in the past, and for different reasons.
No other country deals with this, right? I mean, Japan won't allow you just to do that. There are so many countries that are like, no, no, no. And the ones that have allowed this, look how they've been overrun. Look how much problem or how much of a problem they've become there that they can't get rid of them now. And they're in the streets and they're causing chaos left and right. We're seeing it here. We're seeing it in big cities. This is not what America is about. You want to come here and get a good job, then do it the right way. It's that easy. But there are a lot of jobs that can be filled by people who aren't working right now, who say they can't find a job. We got to stop playing games with people and say, yeah, you're better than this. You should be a manager. You should be this. You should be that. No, this is a job that fits you. This is what your background shows. It's okay to be able to do those things. I've said it before. I would be more than happy to, pick strawberries and live on a farm all day. I think it's a great job. It would be very, like not a lot of pressure.
It's not going to exist, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, but again, there are jobs for everyone. Not everybody is going to be a CEO, and we got to stop pretending that you can be.
Well, no, I'm fine with that, but you just got to realize at some point you have to start limiting immigration altogether.
Totally.
Consider that in 2017, you had 415,000 apprehensions at the border. Now, let's just say 10% ever get through. That means that for that year, you had 40,000 people that came into this country probably illegally to do these jobs. 40,000 is a long way away from 2 million.
Yep.
And 2 million over the span of each year, that's how we get to 10 million people that are here illegally and that we don't have the jobs to even have them filter down. Again, if you're telling me 40,000 got through in 2017, that's 40,000 people that broke our laws. We can find a way for those 40,000 people to hide in the shadows. Can't hide 10 or 12 million.
No, you definitely can't. But that's the thing, though. We talked about Justin Trudeau, how he is ready to work with Donald Trump. He is ready to bend the knee, as Lowe's was saying earlier. But you're seeing the same thing down in Mexico, Rhino, when they're turning away caravans, knowing that the United States is not going to tolerate this anymore. And the Mexicans know that Donald Trump can destroy their economy with the stroke of a pen, and he is going to, and has told them he's going to. So all of a sudden, all of these people really want to work with Donald Trump that said maybe he was a dictator.
Yeah, it is kind of funny to see, President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, she was so strong and, I'll tell you what, if you're going to put tariffs on us like that, well, we're going to do it back, and we're going to do it with General Motors, Stellantis, and Ford Motor Companies. And I just looked and said, with American companies that are on, well, yeah, we're going to do that. Well, it's not going to work because you know what's going to end up happening? Those companies are going to say, hey, we can't afford it. We're moving back to America and create more jobs here. It is
mission accomplished.
Yeah, mission accomplished. But not only that, look at, just like we're talking about now, there are people who are coming here that obviously were not strong in their convictions of needing to get out of these areas, looking for asylum, and coming to America because of all the problems. Because thousands and thousands of migrants who are coming here thinking, I think Kamala Harris is going to win and it's going to be a free payday for us, are now turning around that President Trump has sat and won this election in a landslide victory. They realize, free paydays are over. Let's turn around. We're not going to get what we wanted there. They weren't coming here for a good reason. So Trump, who's not even in office, is just using that strength that we've talked about for years, saying, this is how we're going to be strong. There is no way around this. This is the rule of law. And if you can't follow it, guess what? You're going to be convicted and you're going to be thrown out. These people are turning around on their own.
There's a book, The Post-American World. It's by Fareed Zakaria.
Barack Obama's favorite.
It is a favorite of his. He was seen carrying the book. Surprise, surprise. And so Post-American World, when it came out in 2008, was the idea that we will never be able to regain our standing in the world because of the rise of China and India. And if there was one thing I took away from reading the entirety of that book, is the idea of changing tax policy, how much it would help not only just the regular American people, you and me, but our companies in staying competitive with what is going on around the rest of the world. So when Donald Trump starts by talking about tariffs or changing in policy, know that that is with American society, American companies, the American worker, first and foremost, being put at the front of the line and saying, I'm doing this for you. This is the start of a negotiation. This isn't to be, in some ways, like evil Americans, and we're doing this to the Mexicans. No, we're looking at them and saying, if you don't close your borders and stop flooding us, which is hurting us by billions of dollars, well, I'll tell you what, we'll hit you up for $1 billion back. Yeah, and that's where it starts the negotiation, how they change their tune.
And immediately they do, because they know they are in a weak position. Because the American economy, the biggest in the world, every one of those countries need us more than we need them. Every one of them. And that includes China. That includes Mexico. That includes Canada. You name it, they all need us more than we need them. Now, are we going to have to take a little bit of pain? Absolutely. Look at what happened down in Argentina. They took a little bit of a shot to the chin, too, but they turned it around. That is the blueprint, Rhino, that we need to be using.
Yeah, I don't think we should be afraid of, and this is exactly going back to what Carlos asked earlier, is why'd you vote for Donald Trump? This is why I voted for Donald Trump. The no-nonsense approach to making the American dollar the most important brand of the economy and the important, obviously trade that we do have. We're going to make America great again in so many different ways, and he's already starting and hasn't even been in office yet. You've already got deals with Canada, with Mexico, UK is all of a sudden sitting back and going, okay, yeah, we understand. We're going to do the same thing, because they all need American ingenuity, American products, and they need the American dollar. And that's what Donald Trump has done, and he's not even in office yet. It's so strong. I think that Democrats should shake, because I don't think they should ever win the presidency again based on their last administration. This is strength, and this will make the American dollar the strongest currency in the world.
You can Google this at any time. Go to your Google machine, type in World Economic Forum 2024. Look at the agenda. They are talking throughout the entirety of that conference about what they're going to do, how they're going to adjust to a Donald Trump presidency. But more than just that, it's when he changes the policies, they're going to move away from a globalist agenda to a nationalist agenda for the United States. How do we all make sure that we don't get left behind, that we are able to change our economies to handle what the Americans are doing? Strengthen the American dollar's coming back. And that's what they anticipated on. That's what they were planning for, knowing that we are not going to bend the knee to anybody else moving forward for the next 4 years.
Amen. And that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see the strongest America that we can possibly have, because a strong America is good for the entire world. This is the Morning Extra, 8 o'clock hour, brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, one of the few second-generation locally owned HVAC companies in Atlanta. Chuck and his team been operating since 1947. And they can help you, too, at your house. Your Atlanta carrier experts, you can call them at 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com when we come back. Oh, now, all of a sudden, now they care about inflation. That's next on Extra 106.3.
Hey, it's Flounder, and the Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
Leonardo DiCaprio, huh? Oh, he's 50.
Someone pointed out yesterday that it's the movie Inception, which was about dreams.
Yeah.
That thing where he's married and his wife is there. That's obviously a dream because she was not under 24.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Hey guys, it's Rhino here for my elves over at True Prep. Listen, don't give a tie or socks to your dad or mom. I don't know if your mom needs a tie, but if she does, okay, maybe that's cool too. But stop giving thoughtless gift cards from big box stores. Show you put some care and thought into your gifts by giving them a gift from one of the most unique stores in Atlanta, and that's True Prep in Marietta on Cobb Parkway. They got some great sales coming up during the month of December, and for an added bonus, for every $50 that you spend on a gift card, True Prep's going to give you a bonus card with $5 added bonus. You can go online at their website, check out all their great products. But look, now is the time, more than ever, to start preparing for an emergency with True Prep in Marietta on Cobb Parkway. For details on all the sales that they've got coming up in December, go to trueprep.com. That's TRU prep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with our elves over at True Prep.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
Looking for bold discussions on vital issues? Tune in to The Janelle King Show every Saturday at 3 p.m. with an encore episode every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on Extra 106.3, where we dive into kitchen table topics that are essential for a strong republic. Don't miss an episode, but if you do, it's all good because we have new podcasts that drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't miss out on these thought-provoking conversations.
Hey homeowners, Tug here with some exciting news. Southern Exteriors is your one-stop solution for top-notch exterior services, from roofing to siding, windows, gutters, and more. No more waiting. They can start on your project immediately. And with an in-house warranty division, Southern Exteriors stands by their work for years to come. From leaky roofs to faded siding, trust Southern Exteriors for a quick and lasting transformation. Don't wait. Transform your home today. Call 877-9-SOUTHERN or visit southernexteriors.co now. Southern Exteriors, quality and precision you can rely on for over 20 years.
The Extra 106.3 app is your live connection to the station, streaming free across Georgia. But it's also loaded with all our original shows and podcasts. Listen to exclusive shows from Janelle King, Ben Burnett, and so many more. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
They told us that inflation wasn't a thing. Don't believe your eyes and ears. Don't believe your wallets. Don't believe any of that stuff. Inflation's not a big deal. This is before the election. All of a sudden, they care about inflation.
Remember, it was transitory.
That's right.
Right? It'll just be a couple months.
I'd forgotten about that.
Janet Yellen let me know, this momentary spike, that's what it was. And then, as we got about a year into it, then it turned into, well, you know whose fault this is. It's not our spending. It's a Putin price hike.
That's right.
All right, that's why your gas is where it is, and that's why you're having to spend what you're having to spend. All right, so now these people have, and these are the diehards, man, because the regular general Democrat recognized that they lost in part because of what was going on in the economy and how you stopped helping working people. You stopped talking to them. The real hardcore far leftist is now turning into the tune of, well, just wait till Trump gets into office, see how much your stuff costs then. Brother, it already costs 30% more now. What do you think I'm worried about? 32%? Like Rhino, we talk about eggs and suddenly look how much you're concerned about the price of your eggs. You voted to get rid of Kamala. Well, yeah, because I've been spending this for 3.5 years.
Yeah, unfortunately, inflation in history never goes away. It just kind of stays there, and we pretend like, it's not a big deal anymore. But see, what Donald Trump is going to do, and people don't realize, is he's actually going to lower the cost of products based on lowering corporate tax rates, allowing companies like we just talked about that are in Mexico, like Ford, Stellantis, and General Motors, to find a cheaper, better way to employ people here in America, and our products will eventually go down. It's going to be a long road. Don't get me wrong. We're not going to turn this around in one day, but with Trump's ideas and economic policies, we will get lower prices. But for now, we're not really worried about, we're already paying too much for everything. We're used to it at this point. We're trying to, just manage life, but everything will come down eventually.
Well, worst comes to worst, it's just a continuation.
But I had 4 years of them telling me, well, look at your 401k. Yeah. Well, what do you mean that this is a struggle for American families?
But the crazy thing about that one is they never said, well, your 401k is worth about half of what it was because everything is double more expensive.
Because your dollar has now less buying power by about whatever you had in the bank, take away 30% of it. That is now the buying power of what has gone on. If you just look at Donald Trump's years and his inflation rate, you're looking at about 2%, 2.1%. You're now just this year able to claim, well, it's 2.4% in this country as of this year. Yeah, but that's after years of 7 and 6.5 and 3.5. So now that you're telling me that my wallet is going to dictate somehow that my vote is now going to hurt me because I voted for price hikes. No, I voted for economic sanity, and it starts with what we're going to cut and what we're going to spend.
Yeah, and that's what I want to see. I want to see the disruptor. I want to see the person that is going to tear it down to the studs and rebuild it the way it needs to be. Rebuild it the way that it was, Rhino, when things made sense. Before the adults got back in the White House.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of it is this. Donald Trump and his policy on energy is going to be so beneficial to every single corporation, every single person in this country. Not only are gas prices going down, that's the small of it. That's the small percentage that we see every single day. When we talk about 80% of our products in this country being built based on petroleum, this is something that's going to lower pricing. But it also lowers our supply chain, and our supply chain will be able to deliver things cheaper. And, you know, being in the restaurant business as long as I was, one of the things you start to realize is, well, we got to add in cost to our food because it's costing us more. We have to pay the fuel charges just to get the food to our door every single day. As soon as all these things start dropping because our energy is ramped up again, everything will lower as well. Again, it's going to take time. Yes. I think that the Biden administration has done so much damage to the energy sector that it's going to take 3-4 years before we really start seeing really, really good results. But eventually, we're going to see so many good results that I think Donald Trump is going to be able to say, hey, J.D. Vance, this is your office. We don't even need to campaign at this point.
When you consider that the Keystone Pipeline is more than likely now going to get the approval, that it's going to, you're not going to have an executive order that's signed that cancels the work on that. Now, day one, that was 8,000 workers that were working on that for pretty good money. Like, that was a good job that you had out there. So much of what happens in the energy sector is based on speculation, where we think the supply is going. Will there be more growth? If we start opening up federal lands to gas, oil development, natural gas, everything, fracking, all the things you can come up with, along with then starting our pipeline access again, I think you're going to see, and I'm right there with Rhino, it's not going to be this like, wow, it just came down within the first 2 months. But you're going to see, based on the speculation of where the price is going to go with an enhanced market, you'll see those prices come down. And that changes the price of everything, by the way.
Yeah, you're seeing it already with the confidence in the consumer price index. I mean, the confidence is up to an all-time high. When you see the stock market, what it's doing, and that's not because of Biden or anything they did with the economy. It's the knowledge that all the pricing is going to come down. We're going to be making more money. Everything goes hand in hand. TC Energy, who was the contractor to build the pipeline from Canada all the way down to the Houston area, they spent billions upon billions of dollars. We had to repair a lot of these relationships we've had with these energy companies because the fear of Democrats getting in control or stopping pipelines from being built and doing what we need to do. I mean, natural gas is another one. Let's not discount what we need to do, because I think natural gas is something that we're looking into. Nuclear energy is something that we're looking into. I think once they get these contractors back in place and say, hey, we promise you, we're not going to allow anyone to shut this down again, you're going to start to see a major change in pricing.
See, I think I'll just take it a step further, because I don't know that those companies, when they hear we promise, are going to believe that. But what I can say that they will believe is that the success of Donald Trump and the flat-out failure of the Democrat Party, which doesn't have a future in America, that gives them the reason to believe, because there is going to be, like you said, a handoff to J.D. Vance.
Build it into law. If you're concerned about the whims of a president and how he can shut down portions of the energy sector with the use of a pen, make it into law. You have the tax bill that will be coming up. Your taxes with the Trump tax cuts are going to expire in 2025. One of the things you want to do is make sure you know what the tax code is going to be moving forward. If you're going to put that legislation together, build in the fact that a president cannot just change energy policy with his pen, that it requires an act of Congress if you're going to jump into a sector of the economy that has this big of an effect on the economy.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the most important things you can do is start protecting that, because I think even Democrats understand we're going to do it cleaner than anyone else is. We have the EPA, which I think a lot of restrictions need to be taken back, but at the same time, we can do it better. And we need to eliminate a lot of these ridiculous things that do take up so much of our energy, whether it's the solar panels that they try to push through or these big air blenders, aka windmills that they're putting everywhere and taking up farmland. It's a return to normalcy by by Donald Trump, but you do have to make it almost Democrat proof at this point to show, hey, oil is important. Yes, we can do it better. We can do it cleaner. Yes, we can look at alternative energy, but we don't have to put all our eggs in one basket and go straight to an EV world. We can't do it. It's impossible. We have too many products that depend on oil.
I felt like I had Hollywood that was echoing Rhino to me the other day, because if you haven't seen Billy Bob Thornton in Landman,
oh my gosh,
and
I've seen a bunch of clips of it.
The scene he does with his daughter
when he's talking about the solar power,
showing basically here's all these alternative forms of energy. He's like, here's what they actually run on, and here's what they actually need. And I know Rhino was just sitting there, going, yes, finally you understand.
Finally, dude. More than that, though. He made it clear that none of these are going to create the energy we need, and they don't do anything to protect the environment. There's no such thing as green energy. And anybody who buys green energy is being sorely misled.
Yeah, this is the biggest fraud in the history of the world, really, is this whole idea of clean energy and the climate bills that they're pushing through. Look at what they tried to do to us and other countries that make a lot of money, paying $300 billion a year to these small countries because of our issues. No. This is a ridiculous money grab. It always has been. And now all these elites that have been making money on these schemes of climate control are all falling apart. And that's what we need to do. We need to stop spending money on things that actually don't do anything. How long have we been working on this? We've been giving billions upon billions, hundreds of billions, to these frauds in the climate sector. And yet they keep telling us, no, we need more. We can't fight this. It's a ridiculous game that they're playing, and it's time to cut it off.
We've been doing this for the better part of 20 years. I mean, Solyndra wasn't really that long ago. And people don't know, like they just forget about these things, that we invested billions of dollars in companies and technology that were not ready for prime time. When they are, hey, cool. You know what? You can slap it on my house and let's make it go. But until then, I'm sorry, this is how we get not just our economy healthy, but our inflation down. Start producing energy in a level that drives down pricing across the board.
Elon will be huge in this, guys. I'll tell you that, because he's the climate guy.
Yeah, well, but on top of that, though, Elon's the one who said, let's get rid of these subsidies. Let's let the technology earn its own place. Make it in its...
He wants to compete straight up against anybody who's making EVs.
Imagine that. I mean, that's the whole point. If it's going to work, then let it work. And if it's not going to, let it fail. That's what the economy should do. That's what capitalism is. When we continue after a Neil Bortz report in the Fox News update, tariffs are the negotiating tool and the enforcement if you decide not to. Next on the Morning Extra.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
I was sitting here at my studio trying to come up with some ideas for a commentary when suddenly I picked up a disc. Bortz Foreign, it said. So what the heck, I'll use it for the commentary. It happened back in the 96 Olympics in Atlanta. I wanted to record some messages for our Olympics visitors. So I got people who were fluent in foreign languages to read some messages that I wrote. That's what's on this disc. I'll just tell you what I did. Brazil, for instance, had somebody speak in Portuguese, and they said something like, "The Neil Bortz Show would like to welcome you to the 96 Olympic Games. And we would especially like to thank you for sending some of your beautiful Brazilian women here to Atlanta for us to gaze at in wonder. It's a real pity they just don't age all that well." And then for the French, my little welcome thing said, in French, of course, "We would like to welcome our visitors to France for the 100th Centennial Olympic Summer Games. Due to the excessive heat and humidity here in Atlanta, it would be greatly appreciated if you would wear deodorant while you're visiting." And in Spanish, I have time for that one. Neil Bort Show would like to welcome our visitors from Mexico to the 1996 Olympic Games. We're sorry that your team really sucks, but after all, any Mexican who can run, swim, or jump has already come into this country many years ago. Frankly, I forget what the Russian and Italian messages said, but that's okay because I had already done enough damage. In this day and age, I wonder if we could get away with that. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
This is Atlanta's new home for Fox News, Extra 106.3 FM.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning eternity band, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer. Or maybe you're looking for that perfect engagement ring or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have the perfect gifts for the season, starting at around $500. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas, see the online seasonal gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Extra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the podcast park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
Elon Musk may have single-handedly saved this country and Western civilization.
One of the top 5 guys in 200 years changing the course of a culture.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can.
It's full and unconditional. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The pardon President Biden issued for his son Hunter, not just letting him off the hook on a felony gun conviction and tax evasion he pleaded guilty to.
It covers any crime the first son may have committed between January 2014 to December 2024.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera.
This is a big 180 for a president who has long said he will follow the rule of law, but the president says he changed his mind because he believes Hunter's charges were meant to break him politically. In a statement, the president says, in part, here's the truth. I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process.
The president also wrote that no reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than he was singled out because Hunter is the president's son, though President-elect Trump calls the pardon abuse and a miscarriage of justice, as House Republicans have spent years investigating Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings in an impeachment inquiry also probing the president. Congressman Pat Fallon tells Fox Business.
He said, I never discussed business with my son, or I never met his associates, and then that was found to be a lie. And they said, well, I didn't benefit from it. And then that was found to be a lie. Well, it was just a loan. And then he lied to us repeatedly, saying that he wouldn't pardon Hunter.
President-elect Trump's nominee to take over as Attorney General, Pam Bondi, will meet with Republican senators today after Trump over the weekend also nominated conservative Kash Patel to take over as the FBI director. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy opposes that, telling NBC's Meet the Press.
Donald Trump told the American public during the campaign that he was going to turn the Department of Justice into a political operation, an arm of the White House to destroy his political opponents.
Israel confirmed today that one of its soldiers held hostage in Gaza, who's also an American, Omer Nuetra, is dead, and he was killed when taken by Hamas in the terror attack last year that triggered the war. It's Cyber Monday when Americans back at work after Thanksgiving may shop on the job. Adobe predicts we might spend $13+ billion today shopping online. America's listening to Fox.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Police officer and K-9 handler Jacob Russell Chaffins was fatally shot while attempting to serve warrants for domestic violence offenses. And thanks to friends like you and your generosity, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave the Chaffins family the gift of a mortgage-free home. There's so much more to do and to say thank you to our nation's heroes and their families for their immense sacrifices, all for us. Donate $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
You're right, and so are we. Welcome to Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Tug, Rhino, and Los on Extra 106.3's Morning Extra until 10. After that, back Clay and Buck, and then the local afternoon show with the Kimmer from 3 until 6. What is it that you would think most people are talking about this morning? That would be the pardon of Hunter Biden. We've talked about it all morning long, and we couldn't help but notice that over on MSNBC, they bury it in the final few minutes of every hour. The very first time they brought it up was 6:52. So just, a couple minutes before the top of the hour when most people aren't watching and aren't paying attention. Last hour, it got buried at 8:47. Again, in that final quarter hour where most people won't see the coverage because they're either leaving the house or getting out of the car, going into their office.
And for the audience out there, the way that media is often consumed is on quarter hours. And so your first 15, your second 15, you're basically you get to where when you get to that final quarter hour, that 45 to the top of the hour, traditionally, that is when people have gotten what they're going to get. That's when they are now getting to the office, their commute times. It's when they check out. So they are making it a point on MSNBC to use the checkout period to tell you about Joe Biden pardoning Hunter Biden because they know how bad it looks for the entirety of the party.
It is really funny, too.
Yeah.
Because, you go on X this morning, you're going to see it everywhere, and all the Democrats making excuses for the pardon. None of us really care about the pardon. I don't think any of us are like, whatever. We knew it was going to happen. We knew this was the golden parachute that Joe Biden needed in order to step out of the race and allow Kamala Harris to be installed as a candidate. The reality of it is this. They're hiding the Ukraine deal more than anything else. It's not the love of a father like they're trying to say. I do find it funny that, I'm now starting to see a lot of things like Democrats who said he's a man of integrity. He would never pardon his son if he says he's not going to, and then them coming back now and saying good for him for pardoning him. It's a ridiculous game that they're going to continue to play. Mainstream media doesn't know how to handle it at this point.
Well, all they had left was, he's not Donald Trump, and he operates with class and integrity, and he would never consider doing this. In fact, he's told us on a multitude of occasions, including Karine Jean-Pierre telling us that he would not consider that he would possibly give a pardon to Hunter Biden, his son. That would show, and then he did. So where are you at now?
Another lie for the Biden administration. That's it. Another lie.
You start thinking it in its entirety. The Biden administration has been such a gigantic failure from the start all the way to the finish that pointing out a victory, could you imagine that Kamala Harris had nothing to run on except trying to say, well, I'm not Donald Trump. Well, you lost the popular vote. And yet, still, 72 to 74 million people said, well, she's not Donald Trump, so that's good enough for me. Even though it's been a failure for 4 years, and it caps off with this.
Dude, Adam Schiff back in 2018 on CNN said, if the president issues a pardon in the case in which he or his family are implicated, the American people need to know whether it's part of an attempt to obstruct justice. And he was like, just pounding Donald Trump into the ground for a potential pardon. I don't hear Adam Schiff saying anything this morning about the pardon from Joe Biden to his son. I'll read it again. If the president issues a pardon in which his family or he or his family are implicated, the American people need to know whether it's part of an attempt to obstruct justice. Adam Schiff, is this an attempt to obstruct justice? Because I believe the answer is yes. I think everybody in this room thinks the answer is yes. I think everybody listening to Extra 106.3 right now thinks the answer is yes. So
yeah, I think I think it's funny. Elon Musk just reposted John Harwood, who's one of those Democrat loonies who said, people who insist Biden will pardon Hunter after specifically ruling it out are telling on themselves. They can't imagine someone acting on principle and keeping his word.
If you consider the Teapot Dome scandal, and I know it's old and it's the Harding administration, but when you look at what that administration was able to pilfer from that, and that being the biggest scandal in administration history as far as a group in D.C. made sure to get paid, it's $100,000 and $400,000 to another group. By today, it's $7 million. The Bidens would laugh at $7 million. They wouldn't even. Are you kidding me?
They wouldn't get out of bed for that.
My paintings are $500,000. You telling me that you want me to give you influence for $7 million? There's no chance. That's why we're talking the biggest scandal ever in American political history as far as an administration.
Goodness gracious. People who insist Biden will pardon Hunter after ruling it out. They can't imagine anyone acting on principle, keeping his word. Like Rhino said, that was John Harwood. Goodness, we all expected it. I guess there was no doubt in my mind that it was coming at some point. And it's not the love of a father. It's not I'm doing what's best for my son. It's I'm doing what's best for me and the entire family because we're all guilty. We've all had our hands in the cookie jar. That's the way I see it.
If he cared about the American people, he'd go and say, hey, there's some J6ers that are in jail for holding up a sign or taking a picture in Capitol. That's ridiculous. Not taking a woman, a prostitute, across state lines and paying for crack cocaine, buying guns illegally, and doing my bidding outside of this country in the Ukraine and funneling money back to the family. No, the reality of it is this. Joe Biden is a liar, always has been a liar. He's not a good father. He got caught and wanted to help his son, yes, but he's just helping another criminal syndicate. That's all he's doing.
Well, it makes it harder for the money to lead back to him, which was the direction it was always going. 10% to the big guy. If you cannot have discovery as far as getting Hunter Biden on a stand and starting to talk to him about what he was involved in and where the money was going, which is all they've tried to ignore and try and eliminate, well, then it makes it much harder to get back at Joe Biden. Joe Biden did what he's always done. What is in the best interest of Joe Biden? And I was surprised when he gave away the presidency. It had to be pried out of his cold, nearly dead fingers.
For sure.
And yet, then 27 minutes later, he's like, but pick Kamala, because I know she can't win. And then he finishes his presidency off with this, knowing it's going to sink my party.
It's absolutely
Joe's always been about him.
No, that's right. And he is not afraid to do what is best for him.
The American Democrat that knew Obama-era politics, that bought into the woke socialism and everything from 2008 to 2024, it died last night, and that's a great thing.
Absolutely. Everything that they said Donald Trump would do, Joe Biden has done. And that will continue for, another month? Almost month and a half. That stuff will continue. I wonder if there is other pardons that we don't even realize. Like I saw John Rich, the country star that obviously is connected with Donald Trump from Big and Rich, tweet this out on X this morning and say, I wonder if there's a pre pardon for Fauci, lined up. I wonder if there's pardons for people like that to continue to seal what we all know happened with the COVID vaccine and just COVID in general. It makes you wonder, what are the other pardons that are coming? And I bet there's going to be a few that tick us all off real bad. Something just
I think so. You got till Jan 20th. This is the first of probably many pardons that we're going to see. I think Fauci might be one of those that they're just going to continue to watch. There's plenty of other players that have done things. Watch the FBI, watch the CIA, look for names that maybe you don't know, but have been doing things behind the scenes that they know that the Trump administration, Kash Patel, and all the people that he's putting in there are going to go after to see. That's where you're going to start seeing a lot of these pardons.
I just look forward to being able to discuss them with you here on Extra 106.3, knowing that we're going to cover the things that MSNBC waits till the final quarter hour when no one's listening to talk about.
Oh, they're still very upset over Kash Patel.
Now that's
nothing
top of the
about
hour.
Joe Biden.
That's top of the hour, Kash Patel.
That's how bad it is for them. The biggest story in the news, as much as Kash Patel is going to have a big influence moving forward, the biggest story in all of political news
Without a
is
doubt.
what Joe Biden did
Absolutely
last
right.
night, and they won't touch it.
They can't touch it.
They don't
because
know how to.
Their audience won't allow it. Oh, well, what audience is left?
What audience is left?
Yeah.
The 50,000 people that are
That's
watching.
right.
I mean, we get more listeners in a week than what they're doing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's insane.
No, it is.
It's MSNBC.
This should be it's a worldwide brand.
They're on what?
Oh,
thousands,
gosh.
millions of homes
millions.
across the country?
Millions. Probably 300
I'm on
million.
an app.
Yeah. Yeah. How many, I don't know how many cable subscribers or streaming subscribers, however you want to say it, are in the United States, but I bet it's 300 million. I bet there's no doubt. And if it's not, they're borrowing someone's username and password, so it will equal 300 million. That's how many
Yeah,
people
they're going to lose their mind. I love it. They're continuing to lose their mind. And what's their only thing? Oh, you guys voted for a convicted felon. Well, first of all, he's not a convicted felon. He's never been convicted because there's no sentencing, and there never will be because it was a trumped-up BS charge, and they continue to be BS charges. This was an actual charge. This actually had merit, unlike the ones they tried to make from misdemeanors into felonies and then create 34 of them instead of just one if they were going to go that route. So the ridiculous just turnaround by all the Democrats and all their little influencers without any kind of knowledge whatsoever on how everything works is just, it's actually hysterical this morning. I'm loving it. I could care less that he pardoned Hunter.
Well, they're screaming at the wind. That's what they're doing. Like, stop blowing. Well, that's not really going to work when you have a liberal Democrat who her idea of, you know what they should do? They should have Christopher Wray leave as the FBI director and have Biden appoint a new one immediately so that he can serve 10 years. Like,
right.
Doesn't work that way. All right,
Sister, what are you talking
just
about?
let him go, and then
Right.
you bring
And
in the next one.
and he's just gone.
But this is what they're left to. They're left to parliamentary tricks. They're left to a magic show. The things they're trying to come up with these random ideas. You know what? If you gave me the steering wheel, I could fix the Democrat Party in about 6 months. But we're going to change the direction that everything's going. The issue is that MSNBC, with their 50, 60,000 viewers, about half of them will immediately tune me out and go, "You're a racist, misogynist. You're all the things that we said that we can't stand." I'm like, I'm trying to fix you. They don't want to be fixed.
They don't want to be fixed.
They want
because
their cult.
That's exactly
That's how
right.
it is.
And there's nothing going to change the Democrat Party. And those people, those moderate Democrats that are saying we need to repair this, we need to change this, we need to get our identity back.
Stop talking to me, old man.
They will be kicked out of the party. They will be left behind in the party. Whether they join the Republican Party, I don't know. Whether they create a centrist Democrat Party, I don't know. But the party as it exists right now cannot move forward. It is dead in the water.
I hope that they're known as like never pedos. Like maybe they're the ones that go, this whole never mappers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's never Trumpers, which was never that offensive to me because I didn't agree with the Lincoln Project or anything else they were doing. But if they're never mappers, and that stands for, what is it? Minor attracted people. Yeah. Maybe the never mappers go, we're not with them anymore. In fact, let's just take them and call them what they are over there. They are into that stuff, and we are not.
Yeah, it's alarming. So we'll just have to see what happens to the Democrat Party, but it is dead in the water as you know it right now. 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999, serving Atlanta and the Southeast. They're big enough to take on whatever project that you have, windows, doors, siding, roofing. They can do it all. Their website, southernexteriors.co. It's southernexteriors.co.
You're going to sign up for that, by the way.
What's that?
You're going to be part of that group going, Never Mappers, you come over here.
Yes, that's right.
We'll start calling them as that.
Absolutely.
We're your friend of the Never Mapper.
Yeah, just so gross. And all you have to do is...
Because they thought Trump was such an ugly word, right?
Have some sort of moral compass, and you can be a part of the Republican Party. When I say that, I'm obviously not including those establishment Republicans.
And we're
that
trying
have
to
no
change.
boundaries.
We're trying to change that party as it is right now.
That's right. We want to fix our own, and we're continually working on our own. We're calling out our own side, and it's so funny because we played a cut earlier today where the Democrat, who is a former. I think it was the deputy campaign manager for Kamala Harris, talked about how, well, the Republicans just have an echo chamber. No, we don't. No, we don't. I absolutely want to call out any Republican that's doing the wrong thing, no different than I want to call out any Democrat that's doing the wrong thing. That's the difference here, is that you're welcome to dissent. You're welcome to have a different opinion, just like you're welcome to have that on X. so many ways to have a discussion, have a conversation, and let's come to the to the consensus that is best for America. And it might be. Go ahead, Rhino.
That's the one thing that we do better than the Democrats, for sure. We look at our party and say, nope, these are bad people no matter what. Don't care about their party affiliation. These are establishment uniparty Republicans that don't have the best interests of the American people in their ideas. They're actually going against what the people are voting for. And we're one of those stations that calls out people. Tug, went after Buddy Carter and told him, hey, we're tired of spending Ukrainian money. Give us an excuse. Well, I didn't really know. Yeah, you should know. That's why we put you there, to know these things. We're going to call you out if you're going against the American people, no matter what your party affiliation is.
So let's see. There is the woman from Hawaii who's a military vet who was called a Russian asset, and she found her way over to us. There's a Legacy Kennedy. They found their way over to us. There's a gay man in Pennsylvania who helped win the election there by registering as many people as possible to vote with the Republican Party. All right. These people do not have much in common, yet they all found a home here because we don't have much in common, yet we talk about these sort of things that are foundational, which is rule of law, which is free speech, which is being able to dissent and not have your government attack you. These are things that we all can agree on.
Yeah, it's all foundational. All the principles of the United States of America.
The Colt is not.
That's right.
The Colt's like, here's the damn Kool-Aid. Drink it.
And you will drink it, and you will like it. That's the one thing about that deputy director that talked about it. He was like, the Democrats eat each other. Like, they eat their own when anybody dissents and anybody steps out of line. We don't. We physically say, let's talk about it. Let's debate it. Let's figure out the best strategy forward. What's best for America? Because what's best for America is going to be best for all of us. And look, a lot of people are barking about tariffs, Rhino. And that's one thing that Trump has over everybody's head, especially when they want access to the biggest economy in the world. You either play ball or we'll slap a tariff on you. And it's a winning strategy. Whether you want to admit it or not, Democrats, it's a winning strategy.
Yeah, I mean, the importance of actually slapping tariffs on people is a way better way than the Biden administration tried to handle Russia-Ukraine by saying, hey, we're going to take away oligarchs' big yachts. That's not going to do anything. But when you go to Putin and you say, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that nobody gets natural gas. You're not going to be the biggest broker in natural gas anymore if you continue to do this. We're going to throw tariffs on you left and right, ones that actually hurt you. And I said it way, way before Donald Trump even got elected. If you start giving tariffs out, these countries will look at you and say, okay, hold on, we better rethink this. And that's exactly what's happening all over. He only threatened tariffs because they know they need the American dollar. They need trade partners in the United States of America because we do it better than anyone else. And look how quick they're coming around to saying, okay, time out. We're going to work with you. We're going to figure it out. We can't afford this in our country because Mexico knows that they're going to lose a huge workforce if we start pulling our companies back and making sure they can't sell goods into this country anymore. We are leveling the playing field, and that's more important than anything else.
And if you recall, before we had an income tax, we paid for everything with tariffs. This is not a new concept for the United States. It's continuing, one that worked a long time ago. 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution in the southeastern United States. But it all starts here in Atlanta. They can take care of your roof, doors, siding, windows. They can build you a back deck. They can screen in your back deck. They can do it all. SouthernExteriors.co. SouthernExteriors.co. When we come back, voting for Trump was countercultural. Next on the Morning Extra.
The Kimmer Show is only live on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
It was clear that middle America just isn't going for this razzmatazz Cleopatra on the float Let's elect her because she's black and female.
Not just that, but blacks and Latinos have woken up.
It meant that the DEI, once and for all, has been proven on a national level. It's not good.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Electrify your senses with user-friendly technology and earth-friendlier power. Meet the all-electric 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQE 350 sedan. Satisfying for both drivers and passengers with innovations that only Mercedes-Benz can deliver. Experience the all-electric 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQE 350 sedan today. Lease one today for just $549 per month for 36 months with $66.93 due at signing. Exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models. And visit today to see how to qualify. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through December 2nd, 2024. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Are you tired of dealing with loud, ugly, drafty garage doors? Do you have certain rooms in the house that you can't keep cool in the summer or warm in the winter? Hi, I'm Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. Now is a great time to upgrade with brand new, efficient, quiet, and beautiful garage doors. Your garage door is the biggest opening in your home, which is why it's such an important part of your home's curb appeal and energy efficiency. Give us a call today at 770-517-7078. Get started today by visiting us at allfourseasonsgarages.com.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, The Marketing Mad Men. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Mad Men every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Extra 106.3.
It's the holiday season, and Atlanta knows the best gifts come in D. Geller & Son blue boxes. But this season, we're giving you the gift of choice. For 4 days only, we're bringing you a huge and exclusive collection from Shy Creation, one of the most exciting designer lines in jewelry today. Whether you're looking for the perfect holiday gift or treating yourself, this trunk show has something for everyone. Bold necklaces to add some sparkle to her holiday look, trending stackable bracelets to mix and match. It's not just about that moment you blow her away when she opens the box. It's about her new favorite thing that lights up her everyday. And during the show, you'll get exclusive discounts up to 20% off this amazing collection or special financing, 0% APR for 18 months. It's the perfect chance to cross off that holiday shopping list or maybe even make a little room under the tree for yourself. Don't wait. These designs are only here December 5th through 8th at D. Geller & Son Jewelers in Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs. RSVP online at dgeller.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, December 2nd. Jalen Mosley, 19, was arrested and charged with the murder of a 70-year-old man during a carjacking in Atlanta over the weekend. Mosley, who is from Houston, Texas, already had outstanding warrants for his arrest in Houston. Medics transported the 70-year-old victim to the hospital where he later died from his injuries. Mosley faces charges including murder, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, armed robbery, and hijacking a motor vehicle. He is currently being held in the Fulton County Jail. Cobb County police are investigating a double shooting at the Chroma Park Apartments in Austell. Authorities report that 2 victims were transported to the hospital, though their conditions are currently unknown. Police are still searching for a suspect, but have stated that they do not believe there is any danger to the public at this time. The story is still developing. And in sports, the Atlanta Falcons lost their 3rd consecutive game after a tough outing for quarterback Kirk Cousins, who threw 4 interceptions. The Los Angeles Chargers capitalized on the turnovers, securing a 17-13 win on Sunday. Despite the loss, the Falcons remain in first place in the NFC South with a 6-6 record. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Extra 106.3.
Rhino called the Trump movement, and it was. That's what it is. It's what it was. I told you voting for Trump is a countercultural thing, and it was. Voting for Donald Trump was actually sticking it to the man. It was actually raging against the machine. Now Democrats have realized that they're losing the culture war, too. On Pod Save America, Quentin Folks, he was the Harris deputy campaign manager. He said woke is killing the Democrat Party, and they can't even talk about it because they're afraid cancel culture will get them for bringing it up. They can't discuss it. They said if Donald Trump said something, he means it, and his party stands behind him. They don't make him backtrack it. And that's exactly right. That's what's happened in the Republican Party. But all of the things that Donald Trump brings up are very common sense. That's why so many people don't need for him to backtrack it. There's no fear of being canceled. There's no fear of saying the wrong thing, quote unquote, the wrong thing anymore. I think a lot of that fear is going away in America. People can still say what's on their mind. Freedom of speech still matters. I want you to hear from Quentin Folks when he talks about the troubles in the Democrat Party and why they're not going to be able to fix it.
Republicans don't make Trump apologize. We don't have to mimic it. But I think that there are a lot of times where if you're in the Democratic Party and you step out of line, you get punished for it by your own party. Republicans do not do that. This may sound like a shot across the bow, but it should be. Democrats are eating our own to a very high degree. And until that stops, we're not going to be able to address a lot of the things that just need to be said. And like for the masculinity piece of it, men don't like people that apologize. I don't know what age bracket, but it's called like standing on business. If you say something, you mean it. Trump does not apologize. If he says something, he means it, and his party stands behind him, and they don't make him backtrack it. And that type of infrastructure doesn't exist. We're also getting creamed online. I think one of the things about how, even in the states that we're not playing in, it bleeds over. The Republicans have a well-tuned, well-oiled, well-invested echo chamber that exists beyond where they're campaigning. And it's online. It reverberates through TikTok. It reverberates through the culture. There is a cultural dynamic that's at play in politics today where it is converging like we've never seen.
And we're losing the culture war.
And yes, you're right. You are losing the culture war because culture, when it comes to the culture, no one wants to be told you can't say that. No one wants to be held handcuffed online or in real life. People are tired of the woke nonsense. And the only thing I disagree with him, and I'll let y'all jump in on this. The only thing I disagree with is the echo chamber. We don't have the echo chamber. 96% of all the news media is the left. They're all leftists. So that's the echo chamber. That's the problem with the Democrat Party is they get stuck in their echo chamber. There's no discussing it. And like he said, if you speak out, they cancel you immediately. We don't have that. We have discussions.
We do have discussions, and we even have, I don't remember a lot of Democrats jumping on and attacking Democrats, but I do remember a Liz Cheney. I do remember an Adam Kinzinger. I remember plenty of Republicans who went against what they thought when it came to Donald Trump. And even though we said, hey, you're ridiculous, you're throwing out lies, the fact of the matter is this, you have plenty of establishment Republicans that are going against. But unfortunately, counterculture does really make this great again and this country great again, because it's time for people to stand up and say, hold on one second. I know you're lying. This isn't true. Everything you're saying is a lie. They've done this to themselves. Democrats said, you better stay in line. Otherwise, if you do, you're out. And they've done it to their own so many times that we actually have a bipartisan presidency right now with the cabinet. Elon Musk, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard. There are so many that jumped on the other side because they realize, hey, this is the counterculture. We're tearing down this deep state.
I like the idea of it being a cultural marker, that it's more significant than just a vote in an election. And it really is, because it does push back on the idea of what I can say, what I can't say. To think that one of the biggest things you can do when it comes to being on the social media scene, for years you couldn't say somebody's gay. What do we say on this show? All the time. We all make fun of each other. Why are you gay? This is something that is accepted amongst all of us as it's not offensive. We're just having fun with this. And that's the difference. We have now become this movement that is fun. Like, how did that happen? It took such a weird cultural movement like an assassination attempt and a guy getting up in a field, pumping his fist while bleeding, telling you to fight, to where we went, that dude is the truth. Like, this is what happened. It is a cultural marker.
And I love the fact that the Democrats can't
That and
figure
calling
it
everybody
out.
gay.
Right, yes. Why are you gay?
Why are you gay? Thank you.
The Democrats, they don't recognize it. And that's the interesting part about it. Because you have Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine raging for the machine. Zach De La Rocha, the singer for Rage Against the Machine, raging for the machine. They have no idea. They have no clue what it means to be countercultural. And in the 90s, I thought they did. I'll be honest. I listened to their music. I thought, oh, man, these guys are they're sticking it to the man.
Telling you the truth.
That's right. Turns out they were doing everything but that. And it's so clear for everybody to see. And yet, the people that were raging the hardest don't see it.
Well, they've been lied to. They've been lied to by Democrats. They've been lied to by Joe Biden. They've been lied to for so long that they fell into this mind virus that they continue to have. That's why you don't see any knowledgeable Democrats anymore. You just see people who are the echo chamber. And when they get their feelings hurt, what do? They run away and they go, we're going to blue sky where we can talk about touching children and doing the things that we want. It's a ridiculous, ridiculous society that we've allowed to happen and continue to happen, to think that trans people, should be able to play in women's sports and then say we're trying to protect women. They're not women. What are you talking about? It just becomes complete nonsense to most people. And that's why you lost so many minority voters. Hispanics feel the same way. They're like, hold on one second. That's not a woman. That's a dude beating up on women. The same thing in the black community. The reason that they voted for Trump and thought this was countercultural was like, we would never allow this. This is ridiculous.
Cultural situations, culture in general, just it moves, it changes, it morphs. To think that the baby boomer generation, these were the people that had no problem burning their draft cards and sticking it to the man and saying, here's what the establishment is, and we're not interested in it. And then they became what we now look at as going, wow, y'all are the establishment and y'all are completely lame and you want power for yourselves and yourselves alone. What has now occurred is that those Democrats that were sitting on that and looking at themselves as the cool kids table, the culture moved. Now they're the weirdos. You could say they were lied to regardless. They thought to themselves, I'm the one who's anti-establishment. I'm the one who's telling. But make sure you listen to the news every single night because that's where you're going to hear me. The culture changed on them and they haven't adjusted to it.
They've not been able to catch up. Rob's in Milton at 404-741-1230. Rob, what's up, bud?
You should get talking about this. One of my buddies in Alabama I was talking to the other day, he's got a nephew that joined the military. And about 2 months ago, he was in boot camp. He was in the last week of training boot camp. And they were in the field, and the officer gave an order. And he looked at his buddy standing beside him. He said, boy, that was gay. Well, this girl standing there next to him heard it, turned him in for that. He served 3 days in the brig, and they dishonorably discharged him. 19-year-old kid.
Good
for saying that in line out in the field.
You know what? I'll tell you, Rob, and I appreciate the call. We will tell you, and I'm glad we play it, and I'm glad we celebrate it. This will change. In a couple of years,
Absolutely.
This man's military is going to be completely different if we have the people like Pete Hegseth that are running this thing, where suddenly the word police that these people have gotten used to will no longer have power in there.
Well, it's just that words, Rhino, don't have the effect that they once did. And it was built in. It's not like the overwhelming majority of words that are chosen to be used really offend anybody. We were taught for so long that if you say this or you say that you are bad. And anybody saying it, you would see the gasp, you would see the blank stares across the room. That is slowly dying.
Yeah, that's gay. That's what that is.
Yeah, it is.
We don't care anymore. And I think that's what the counterculture is, because I think especially with men, we've been put in this corner where we're supposed to be more woman-like or more, not toxic masculine, go out there and create that. Yeah. And now we're not afraid. Look, this is who we are. This is who we laugh at. And women laugh at it too. These jokes that we've had for years are not a big deal. And most people realize that. But people have become so emotionally driven by the media and by people who think we need to change the way we are and who we are and not be able to laugh at silly things. Oh, well, too bad. That's not important to us anymore. What is important is that we're all all working together for one thing, and that's making America the most prosperous and the most safe country in the world. That's it. And I think a lot of people realize that at one point. It didn't take much. It took a big story like Laken Riley. It took other stories to have people sit back and say, no, we really need to begin protecting women, children. We need to protect everyone in this country first, then worry about everybody else. And it was that easy.
Joy Reid 3-4 years ago, I mean, that was counterculture. That was telling it like it is. And I'm holding Donald's his feet to the fire. This is what I'm going to do. And Rhino, meanwhile, was on the sidelines having to be like, well, I really want to wear my MAGA gear, but it's gotten dangerous and it's weird. Okay, 72 months later, who looks like the crazy person?
Absolutely.
Joy Reid sounds like the person on their way out, and nobody pays attention to her, and she's crazy. And Rhino has been the truth teller this entire time. This is when the culture changes, and they have not been able to adjust to it.
It's changing for the better. Things that should be allowed will be allowed. Are there things that you can take too far?
Should women be saving up on their birth control? Should we be shaving our heads? Do you hear yourself?
You sound insane.
Rhino's just asking for free speech and lower taxes.
But that's all any of us have asked for. And look, that's why Elon Musk buying Twitter, now X, was so stinking important because
Rhino's crazy.
Yeah.
Free speech and lower taxes.
That's right.
What we did
who wants
was
that?
we saw a middle. Yeah, we saw a middle. We're tolerant, okay? We don't have to accept
That's the
you,
truth.
but we will tolerate you, and we tolerated for so long a lot of the things that the Democrats have now said, well, they tolerated that. Now let's push for acceptance.
That's
They have to accept the fact that this man is walking around with makeup on, walking into my wife's locker room, and I'm supposed to accept this? No, I'm not okay with that. He wants to walk around in makeup all day. Go ahead.
How
But
about
when
it?
you come into my daughter's sport, when you come into my locker room or someone else's locker room and then parade around, that's a problem. That's all we're saying. And it's happened in so many different ways. And that's why we continue to sit here and go, no. We understand what you're saying and we're okay with that. What we're not okay is now you cross the line.
Live any way you want to. As long as it doesn't impose on me, you live any way you want to. That's where your freedom is extended up until the point where it imposes on someone else. Live your life. Don't care what you do. However, when it does, and Lowe's has got 2 daughters, man, when it does, things change rapidly. And I think that's what this was the sleeper issue of the election. This was so many people are fed up with it on both political spectrums, both sides. People are like, this is unfair, it's unfit, and it's unjust, and we'll have none of it.
See, if you want to just talk about the difference in the two sides, Tug, when it comes to Tug Manor, listen, Joe can be naked at his home as much as he wants to. Same thing with Rhino. You just don't do it in Tug's backyard. That's when Tug gets a problem. Like, why are you running around in my backyard naked?
Yeah,
that's where he has the issue.
You got to go.
When you talk about the difference in the two sides, the other side goes, you're not allowed to be naked. I didn't tell you could do that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Do whatever you want. Just don't do it in my backyard. The other side says, don't do anything I don't tell you to do.
That's right. Or nothing that is not allowed. That's right, Rhino.
And they want rules for themselves. I mean, think about how funny it was. They're like, hey, we should stack the Supreme Court. Donald Trump's like, cool. Yeah, I'm for that. Hey, we should get rid of the filibuster. Sure. I'm fine with that. You think they allow it now? Look at them. Oh, my God, he's going to get rid of the filibuster. Oh, my God, he's going to stack the Supreme Court with these extremist judges. Blah, blah, blah. Well, this was your idea. No. Only for us, not for you. You're not allowed to have that thought. You're not allowed to have free thoughts. And this is where Democrats go wrong every single time. They want to put rules in for them, but they don't realize how it'll backfire on every American citizen when it happens. And that's what we're starting to see. That's why the school board was so important. Tug, I think you were 100% right. The entire trans ideology and allowing them to cater to a tyrannical minority like that, less than 1% of the population, really backfired on them.
Al Gay is on the phone wanting to talk about this topic at 404-741-1230. Al, what's on your mind?
I am extremely offended at the whole gay thing.
Okay. Sweet.
It's for obvious reasons. That's my last name.
Oh no!
Oh goodness!
So you're really gay?
Yes.
Al, you're a great man, sir.
Fine, American.
Poor Al.
Well, yeah, thanks a lot. Well, I came up during the 60s, and when it was just becoming popular to say that. And, I would get that, just exactly that. Like, well, are you? And then, I had all my, some of my good buddies would say, well, last name first kind of thing.
Hey, Al, I got you.
Yeah. But see, I'm opening it up to you, to all of Atlanta. Now they know, but I'm spilling the beans. But it is still as a Bible thumping, gun toting Christian conservative. It still just tears me up to hear that. My last name, my legacy, if you will. As far as I'm concerned, being dragged through the mud.
Al, appreciate the call, Al. Here's the cool
Poor
part.
Al.
This is where
That's all right. You know what? My last name, Reinhold, everybody used to call me Heinehold. And, I got over it. It's okay. I knew it. I knew it wasn't real. Poor Al, though. I feel bad for him. Yeah, especially in school when they're like, gay Al.
That's right.
I think that Al gets to really celebrate and recognize that in the same way, and this goes back to Al's youth, but there are certain things that you can say to me that I just go, all right, that holds no power over me anymore. It never did. All right. It's the same thing for Al. Now it just turns into, they keep throwing that word around. And they did it to me, and it doesn't really affect me.
Well, it's funny.
Because eventually you just got your religion and your guns and your freedom, Al, and you're good.
That's right. It was funny, though, because...
You guys sound like a bunch of virgins.
That's right,
yeah,
Joe
exactly.
Virgin.
Joe Virgin.
Joe Virgin. But it's funny, though, to Al's point, when Joe told me he was on the phone, and he's like, Al Gay's on the phone. I was like, wait. Is it Al Gay or Al who is gay? Like, who am I talking to? You know what I mean? That's I genuinely asked the question.
This next segment that's coming up is strictly for you, sir.
Ooh.
All right? It's strictly for you. It's in celebration of Al Gay.
It's Al Gay Day.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays. Anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
Shooting drills. A coach who knows the game can teach their team how to improve, but one who genuinely cares about each player.
You have what it takes. We got this.
Can inspire them to win. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Get ready for Real Talk on the Janelle King Show, where we tackle kitchen table topics that are banned from family gatherings, but crucial for a strong republic. Tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. and every Sunday for an encore episode at 9 a.m. And if you can catch us live, great. But if not, no worries. New podcasts drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park right here on Extra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcasts. Join us for insightful conversations that matter.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us, too, in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Hi, my name is Steve from Marietta, and we hired ATL Turf Co. to build our dream backyard golf setup. They installed a large 4-hole putting green, a sand bunker, a short game area, and did a full conversion to artificial grass around the pool with decorative retaining walls. ATL Turf Co. was really creative. They were efficient. The installation was a breeze. Price was completely reasonable, and I definitely appreciated their communication throughout the project. I would definitely recommend ATL Turf Co. to anybody thinking about doing a backyard makeover. You can check them out online right now at atlturfco.com.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, cpapsetc.com. Sportsnet.com.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
I'm Chad Pergram with the Speaker's Lobby. You never know who's going to show up at the U.S. Capitol. Such was the case recently when reporters were chasing Vice President-elect J.D. Vance all over the building as he met with senators about cabinet appointments. As reporters scurried about, who did they meet? Why, former North Carolina Representative and Trump Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. A little later, expelled and former Republican New York Representative George Santos came to the Capitol. When asked why he was there, Santos replied, quote, "Why not? I just came here to do a little visit." This all came as the House Ethics Committee debated releasing a report about former Representative Matt Gaetz, who was also up for Attorney General at the time. By the way, Gaetz was also in the Capitol for meetings with Vance and senators before he withdrew. Santos took aim at Ethics Committee Chairman Michael Guest of Mississippi, who helped bounce him from Congress a year ago. Santos called the Gaetz report, quote, "bull blank." It's more bull blank from Michael Guest weaponizing the committee. Gaetz and GOP New York Representative Mark Molinaro, who lost his re-election, then got into a verbal shouting match in the hall. With the Speaker's Lobby, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Extra 106.3 is proud to be your conservative voice in Atlanta, and we offer a huge slate of original podcasts. Head over to thepodcastpark.com and grab the podcast that you love, all presented by Associated Credit Union.
I've not watched The Simpsons in some time, but I remember when Bart would call Moe's Tavern, and he'd be like, yeah, Amanda hug and kiss. Amanda hug and kiss. Need Amanda hug and kiss. You'd hear Moe say that, or huge ass, is huge ass in there. You know, there's all kinds of those clever names, and it was always the funniest when Bart Simpson would call Moe's Tavern on The Simpsons. And it seems like this has bled over into Peloton. Am I hearing this right?
This is fun for everybody to finish off on a Monday.
Yeah.
We're celebrating what we're celebrating. So Peloton, if you're not familiar, does have the integrated ability to be able to have a live conversation, not so much a conversation, but interaction with the trainers. That depending on where your numbers are, you can ask for a shout out, you putting up some numbers, and they'll say, "Hey, I see you, Tug Howard. You're doing a great job today. I see you doing what you're doing." That is what the trainers do when you're subscribed to the live viewing. I want you to take a listen as America. You are awesome. I can't believe you've decided that it's now the time is to use your Peloton time to prank the Peloton trainers with fake names.
Hugh Janus. I'm on to you.
Buster Cherry, happy birthday. Great to see you.
Dixie Normus.
I will say the name, Craven Moorhead. Eaton Beaver.
Eileen Ulick, I see you.
Jack Mayhofer, happy
Skills Drew Peebles.
All right, so that's what they got there, right?
Dude, I love it. And there's those moments so they have to realize it and still go along with it.
Their faces immediately go to there. Now, I want to bring this up with Rhino, because Rhino, do you remember going back to 2020, 2021, when we had so much of the station shut down? That resulted in Rhino having to do baseball shows. But Rhino, do you remember the senior superlatives?
Yes.
All right. So for those of you out there, Rhino and I were working on the sports side, and Rhino was part of the Atlanta Braves radio network, and they flat out told him, "Hey, you're coming in here and you're doing live shows every night." I'm like, "I am?" I'm like, "Yeah, until we have baseball back, this is what you're doing." Well, one of the things they also had us do, because we had so many seniors that year in 2020 where their proms were canceled.
That's right, yeah.
Baseball season,
I know two kids that had that happen.
All of that stuff that happened to them. So what we decided to do as a radio station was send us your senior superlatives. Give me your team from somewhere in the city, and we'll read and talk about how great they are and just send them a senior shout out. Yep. This is Matt Chernoff, who hosts Afternoon Drive on the Fan, just down the dial. I know Rhino's already like, yes. I want you to take a listen to where what we did is we had our promotions director at the time. She wrote up the senior superlative list, so it showed up in the official binder of what we have to read, and here are the names, so it all looked official. Take a listen to Matt Chernoff.
Shows on each of our stations have been spotlighting amazing student athletes from schools all over the metro area with a senior shout-out. You can do it directly, shout-out at 680thefan.com. Let me shout out a couple of folks today, Mr. Oliver. Our friends at South Hall High School. These are golf seniors. Congratulations to Holden Deeks. Also, Anita beat J Now, Eric Shun, Justin Hermoff, Dixon Cuts, and Ben Insider. I hope I got your name right.
And so, yes, when Al Gay calls up here and says, I can't believe this has been going on for my whole life, like, Al, it's fun when they will use these fake names and have a fun time to get broadcast professionals and catch them with it.
And sometimes say things that they wouldn't normally say. And there's been a couple of them that are super edgy, right? Like when you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't believe they didn't get that. What was there? Was there one? Did it happen on a news station and they were talking about.
Okay, so the Chinese airline.
Yes, that was it.
Yes, Rhino.
We too low.
Yes. So if you don't know, if you haven't found this on YouTube, and what Rhino and I are talking about, so when you had this Chinese airline that was flying into San Francisco, and the plane had an issue where part of the roof opened up.
Yeah.
And so it was a emergency landing. It was a major deal. Nobody got hurt. Nobody was killed. But so somebody called into the radio station and said they had the pilots' names. And so the broadcaster on the air, the anchor, went on TV saying, well, we have the names of the pilots that were flying the plane of this Chinese airline. And just as Rhino told you, wait, do you have it right here?
I have the names.
Okay, so here are the names as Rhino and I are telling you about. This is why you double check and you fact check everything.
This is Captain Somting Wong.
Yes, exactly.
We Too Low. Holy.
Yeah.
And Bang Ding Ow.
And so that was what the woman read live on television.
Yeah.
You got that quick, man. Holy cow. I'd totally forgotten about it. I knew it was something that people had read something.
Wong.
Yeah. But it's been so. What year was that?
Oh,
do y'all remember?
I want to say 2010.
Yeah, it's been so long ago that I remembered it happened, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was. I just remember it being like one of those things back when we were still in you have to be offended by everything.
Right. So offended.
I remember the uproar that it caused. People were just throwing their arms to their sides.
Can't believe we use fake Chinese names.
Dude,
I can't.
Stop. If it's funny, it's funny. Quit being offended. Quit looking for something, Rhino, to be offended by.
Everybody laughed about that. Now, if you were to do it AI today with Donald Trump's voice, everybody would call him a racist. But now that they find out, this is just funny and it's stupid and it's silly and it's sophomoric. But you know what? Everybody still gets a laugh out of it. I love this Peloton thing. My beautiful girlfriend Erin and I were talking about, hey, we want to get a Peloton. Now I'm like, hey, put the money down. Let's do this.
That's cool.
Because I would love to have all those fun names.
Or at least try to get them to say them.
Yeah.
Well, there's something fun about when you do get a shout out on there. Now, I've never gotten a shout out on any one of those mediums, but if it ever did happen, I'd be pumping my fist the rest of the day.
Let's go. I have succeeded.
Getting some work done.
I have succeeded for today. So good, man.
So good for Al. Al Gay.
You started the whole thing, Al.
Al, you made it happen, brother.
Right.
And then we thought about a prank we pulled 4 years ago and decided let's bust that back out.
Absolutely.
Senior super. In fact, we had
those were the best.
Atlanta Braves broadcaster, play-by-play man Ben Ingram. We got him too. And now I didn't.
Did he have to do the superlatives?
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it.
Now we decided, it's in there if you want to look. I didn't play it because I got a lot of respect for Ben. But if you can get the Braves play-by-play man, that's the era we were in where anyone would fall for that. Yes.
Oh. Yeah, Chernoff, the one thing is Chernoff kind of knew, so he's going to play with it. And I find it funny that you're like, I have too much respect for Ingram, but none for Chernoff, so I'll play that one.
That's true. Totally true. In fact, it was him and our friend in Philadelphia, John Kincaid.
Kincaid's wasn't his awful.
He caught on to it.
Oh, okay, got it.
He immediately stopped after the third game. He's like, nope, no, I see what you're doing here. But not Ben the professional.
Professional.
Just keep it on.
We've gotten him so many times with reads that he had to read as our sponsors for the sports, and we got him so many times, and he just reads them, and we have to tell him, do you realize what you just said on air?
The game inside the game, I believe is what that would be called. That'll do it for us. 9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution in Atlanta since 1999. Doors, windows, siding, roofing, and if you need a back deck or want it screened in, they can do all that. SouthernExteriors.co, SouthernExteriors.co. Join us again tomorrow, 6 to 10 here on the Morning Xtra for Rhino, Front Office Los, and Board Up Goey Virgin River. My name is Tug. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Hey, it's Flounder, and the Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
This is a man who was a Nazi, and he just got the Jews and the Muslims to come together and vote for him. He's the worst Nazi ever.
And the black people. You got and Nazis don't really like black people either.
I mean, Jews and Muslims came together.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.